the biggest issue in this fight is Hayashi. Man, this guy is persistent. You'll be attacking the group of enemies here, then suddenly he might do like a jump kick at you, he might rush you, or he might do this pain in the ass attack where if you combo him too much, or if he feels like he'll just do like this attack where he hoards a ton of iframes, he gets his white aura and just starts spinning. And the thing is, I don't know what prompts this attack, because useful tools in this game is to grab an enemy and then throw them, but the thing is these guys are so fast in a group that once you grab one guy, the other guy already attacked you, and when you're trying to get away, the other guy already attacked you, and then the other guy's like trying to do a little two-hitter, so you're getting 4 hits in there before you can escape or grab another guy. You know, you can get a grab, miss, then you try to grab, then it'll hit you, just so annoying. Here's the blue gang, and this gang in this fight is a lot more elaborate than in Kiwami 1. In Kiwami 1 it was just 2 guys and then the boss, but here it's a way like bigger space. There's like 5-6 guys you gotta deal with, and then there's the main boss fight who has a way like harder moveset to deal with, just well because with 1 you're in Yakuza 1, you're not exactly as free flowing as in Kiwami 1, and also he's just like way more dangerous. Like he just goes like he's spinning all across the room. Like, you know, the Kiwami 1 rendition of this fight has like that stab attack which Majima has, but like this dude, he's just dangerous. Look at that, whoosh, whoosh. And that move just has like a weird ass like hit detection. And also this guy is one of those other dodgy assholes, and well, from my knowledge, this guy can't be grabbed as easily as the other guy, so he's just, you gotta struggle with your combos here. Here's the Snake Flower Triad, and this fight is a lot more complicated in Yakuza 1 because you got a lot more people, they have swords, and well, the main guy isn't too hard to deal with, but you know, he can be a little annoying when you're not looking. He can kind of just jump and go. This fight was horrible in Kiwami 1, and in this game, not as bad. To be fair, this arena still isn't ideal, and oh, that does remind me, Yakuza 1's camera is a piece of oh my goodness, I hate this game's camera so much. And in Yakuza 2, I mean, it's not like that much better, but in Yakuza 2, it's just so much better. I mean, to be fair, in Yakuza 2, you have a lot more yada. I'm not gonna get into Yakuza 2. This game's camera is so ass. I hate it so much. But anyways, the reason I'm using all these items, and also I'm using the slowdown water, which like goes into the next area, because this section right here, no, I do not like this section. This is a shooty section, and you don't really have any defenses against these guys. You pretty much just have to take out all these guys in a very specific manner before they hit you, and I'm taking every advantage I can get. Slow down water, damage boost so I can take them out as quickly as possible, and also just a little bit of luck, because sometimes an enemy will shoot you, it'll miss, sometimes it'll hit you, it's like a little random, just hell for no damage. Like, this level discourages you from attempting this kind of run by having these dudes who throw knives, because you know you might be trying to take out the couch guy, you know, you have enemies on your back trying to hit you, and then you have this knife guy who's just throwing stuff. Look at that! Ah! Like, I mean, it almost hit me. Those guys kind of discourage you to kind of like from like rushing ahead, you know, take it slow, take out the enemies first before moving on. You listen to this music though? No, because the sound design made the attacks and like Henry screams way louder, but this music is amazing. Like, you know, Noble Heroes has some amazing ass music. Like I say, the best music is probably in the second game, but still, this game is just has a fantastic soundtrack. And this final boss and this boss fight theme is probably like my favorite out of like the ones in this game. It is such a climactic, awesome little guitar riff. It's called "We Are Finally Cowboys." Think back to the man who trained his bicep for 5 years without ever, like, really thinking about it. Just by thinking that he wanted a stronger arm, he subconsciously trained his arm. So maybe dogs have an innate ability to avoid discombobulation by walking for 2 hours by innately thinking, I am a dog, woof, woof, woof. And maybe that's what the government wants to do. They want us to turn us into much stronger beings who can walk for 2 hours straight. There might be a great war going on in the very next century, maybe next generation, who knows? But the thing is, we are going to be war criminals as tools for the government by being turned into dogs who will follow orders for no reason. We will simply follow orders because woof woof, I am a dog. Do you want this to happen? You remember that attack where if you jump, you like can parry an enemy's attack? Well, if you jump, you can also damage the enemy. So whenever you jump and you're like covered in fire, and you have to like jump forward. It's not just like jumping straight up. You have to like jump forward into the enemy. That can deal damage. You have to get all the way to the top here to avoid this lightning attack he's about to do right now. In order to like avoid that, you have to like jump on top of these platforms, and they don't have any collision underneath them. So like if you jump underneath the platform and you just jump straight through them. You know, it's not like Mario where like the block above you blocks you. No, the block above you is invisible. So you just go straight up it. So instead of like jumping onto it like in a directional manner, you have to like jump onto it just straight up. Don't move, just, you know, position yourself correctly and just jump straight up. Like, you know, boom, I'm positioned right, jump straight up. I'm positioned right, jump straight up. No movement. Don't move left, don't move right, don't move forward. You'll just end up falling. You can kind of manipulate what attack Nightmare will do by just the positioning of where you are. So if you're kind of like right in front of him, he'll most likely do the big laser attack. If you're right behind him, he'll do an attack I haven't explained how to deal with yet. If you're kind of in the middle with him, he'll mostly do the big laser attack. Like, I mean, Nightmare does like to cycle between his attacks, so he's not always going to do the same attack over and over again. You know, like, if you stay right in front of Nightmare, he'll probably do the laser, or he'll probably do that attack where he summons, like, a massive blade to kill you. You know, like the one that spins around. But in between those attacks, he'll do the one attack where, like, he kind of flips onto his side and, like, does the 3 stabby thing. So he'll just kind of rotate between those 3 attacks. You can kind of manipulate the boss fight into doing just those 2 attacks. Grabbing and throwing in this game works is not suited to such a high action like octane sequence because, okay, in order to hold someone, you have to stand completely still and press square. To throw someone, you have to be moving and press square. However, you have to immediately move, stop all movement, press square, and then you have to move again so you can like rotate the enemy in such a way where you're actually like facing away from the enemy, not towards them. Because if you're facing towards them, you get shot. That's what I'm saying. Like, this game is not suited to action, dude. Like this. Like, to be fair, I mean, I don't think the developers were considering no damage for a few of these encounters. I'm assuming they were considering you to use a couple rations or whatnot. But like, so annoying. I hate it so much.
I just haven't seen any other video where someone claims to have no damage to every single boss fight in the Metal Gear Solid saga, but I have. And there is something very particular about this Psycho Mantis fight. Psycho Mantis. Psycho Mantis. So Psycho Mantis on PC is, you know, terrible. Because you see, on PC, there was a whole gimmick with Psycho Mantis in the original game, where you had to plug in the controller into the second port, and the game would get all meta on you and break the 4th wall. But you don't really have a second controller port in the computer version, so instead of having to plug your controller, which I was using the controller for this playthrough, into the second controller port, you instead have to use the keyboard and mouse to defeat Psycho Mantis, and it's fucked up. I fucking hate the controls for like keyboard and mouse in this game. I don't know if the Masters Collection like fixed that or not, but it's fucking terrible. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna change to this voice now.
I will say one disappointment with this fight is that the final phase, which was in the original game where he just goes crazy and all electric and all that, it's not in this one, like during gameplay. I'm assuming they like switched it over to the cutscenes, but that kind of ruins the impact of it because it's such a scary little moment. You just beat this guy, he has 0 health, and he just goes, "Ah!" Like, oh, what? Like, I mean, what, you were like, what? Imagine you're like 9 playing this mature game in 1998, and that just happens. Like, it just scares the crap out of you. Like, what are you supposed to do now? Like, what?
I do not like playing this game on a GameCube controller. Just like, the first Metal Gear Solid just feels like so finely tuned to like the PlayStation like controller setup that playing it on the GameCube, there's just like a little bit of awkwardness with like the new buttons that just, it does not fit this game. Like, for one, like pressing like the tiny ass Y button instead of like the big, like, you know, triangle button to climb stuff does not feel right.
One thing which I don't like about this room, ayo, in the OG game, there was reflections, but ayo, yo, where are the reflections, you hacks? Oh my god, I thought I could escape Kiwami too, but not even here, man. Not even on the GameCube. We're missing the PS1 reflections. What? Like, how could a PS1 game with its limited processing power have reflections, but the powerful GameCube lacks it? Oh, curious indeed. Yeah. Walking on these railings, enemies become like super sensitive, even if you're like going at the slowest speed. Like, I don't know, I've had weird occurrences. Like and also doing like the crouch spamming, you still make noise like on this surface, and it's just kind of like yeah. So I'm just not gonna deal with those possibilities of inconsistency. Once you enter here, like, you're gonna get pretty much bombarded by these flashlight guys. I had made the mistake of turning on night vision goggles, and that pretty much blinded everyone watching this video. But pretty much your friend here is going to distract the enemies, and once that happens, throw the flashbang. And I'm going to make the mistake of not looking away, so wow. But, you know, running forward should be good enough. And And there, that ends this level. This is why I quit playing the GameCube version, because on the GameCube, for some reason, there was an invisible wall in front of the elevator, so I literally could not progress. So, like, I don't know, what would be the solution to that? Like, I don't know, playing the level from the beginning? Like, I don't know, restarting the entire game? Like, I was just like, I was furious. Because, like, bro, I did all the sneaking perfectly, but I get to this point, and because of something that wasn't my fault, I get locked out of the game. Is it like a disc reading error? Like, oh my goodness. So anyway, so I'd like to address a comment which I got on my no commentary version of this video. This dude Mario, he commented something in Italian, and I'm like, oh, what does he say? So I put it into Google Translate, and what he said was, how can you see in the dark? What the fuck are you doing with the thermal goggles? Like it was just so funny because, like, I was gonna bring that up in this video, and I have throughout multiple points, like, hey yo, why is it so dark? So it's just funny that, like, this dude in Italian said the exact thing I was planning on explaining in this commentary version. So, you know, I favorited that comment. It is my favorite comment. Oh yeah, so strategy here. So the dogs in this game are, like, less dangerous than the first game. So, I don't know, in the first game, if you're even, like, near, like, in the same, like, area as those dogs, they start to sniff. Like, I don't know, they like notice you immediately. Like, I don't know, they'll like notice that someone's there. But, like, the dogs in this game, like, you know, if you just like stay away from them and walk slowly, it should be fine. So here I'm gonna attract the other enemy to, like, come over here so I can knock him out. Once I knock him out, the only issue will be dealing with the searchlight, which isn't that tough. And I gotta say, the searchlight, oh yeah, so here I'm gonna, like, pretty much waste the rest of my sticky camps to pretty much knock him out. But I do end up knocking him out on that last one. And now I gotta move his body before the searchlight gets it. Oh no 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 no. And we're good. Here's Nishitani. It's a grand shame that he gets, like, the basic boss fight theme, which ain't a bad theme in itself, but I just don't think it fits his character, because in the climax battles, they actually play, like, that theme that plays when you're doing the Majima's tutorial in the beginning, and that's great, because you're in the grand, this is the band, it's great fun, but nah, they're just kind of playing that standard theme, and it's like, oh, okay. But, you know, this setting's really dope. I mean, you know, you got to fight the tutorial guy here, and now you get to fight an actual boss fight. Dope. Here I'm going to demonstrate just how broken Breaker is once again when it comes to crowds. Like, that might not be all that impressive, but look what happens now. Here we go. It's the OP combo. Watch as everyone just disintegrates into money. Ooh, 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 look at that. And then it's going to get even worse. Look at this. Woo! Look at that. Wow. Yeah, I'm very good at video games, if you haven't noticed. Here is the second Kuze fight, which has one of the best intros, which I did not include because I had to retry. I took damage on that first attempt. He is also very easy. Like, oh man, this dude doesn't even last a minute. Like, look at this. This is how OP, like, the dodge cancel in Yakuza 0 is. In Kiwami 1, they kind of nerfed it, where you can't really do what I'm doing now, just doing full combos after each dodge cancel. You have to, like, tap them out and then stun them and then switch to another style to do anything. But here, nope, Rush is fully efficient on its own. Just get them into a corner, just... There really isn't a perfect version of Snake Eater. Like, there's the original, there's Subsistence, and then there's the multiple HD collections that have come after the fact. And, well, there's the... there's the 3DS version. It counts. The 3DS version is actually important in this because... Every single version of these games has something which the other doesn't, and it just kind of feels like it makes for an experience where you kind of have to play all of them to kind of get the little things that each one have. Mind you, if you play the HD collection version of Snake Eater, you're gonna have a fantastic time because that's the first time I played it, and it became one of my favorite games, like, straight off the bat. But people will be like, oh, I can't believe PS2 games look this good, and they show, like, a 4K upscaled, like, version of the original game. And the worst part about their upscaling is that they take a game that was, like, 4, you know, like, in an aspect ratio of, like, 4:3, and they stretch it out to 16:9, and everyone just looks fat. They just, like, upload a screenshot of the game where they made every single character, like, way fatter than they used to be because the game's not 16:9. This stage in the original Metal Gear Solid 3, like, in the campaign, is probably one of the most interesting sections of the entire game because it's probably, like, the first time where you're given, like, an optional sandbox objective because when you're just running through the game, you could just ignore everything happening in the middle and just kind of, like, go around it, and you'll miss out on a lot of fun gameplay. Or you could try to, like, get some of the materials inside this base, inside some of the supply closets. And you'll have to like actually like play around with Snake Eater's like sandbox gameplay. You could like blow something up to distract the guards. You could blow up a helicopter so it doesn't show up later. Like so much interesting stuff happens here. And it works pretty well for this Ape Escape level.
I think some of the jokes he has in this series maybe haven't aged the best, but in better news, I think him giving like every like main character like an insanely like fat butt has aged very well. Just like Metal Gear Solid 2, that dude is cheeked up. But even when he's like 80, like genetically like 80, 70, 60 or whatever in 4, he's still cheeked up. But however, he's so cheeked up that in Fortnite, when they finally brought him back for Fortnite, they removed his butt, dude. Like, that's crazy. They removed it in Smash Brothers, and now they removed it in Fortnite. What a world we live in, man. Like even when he gets ported to other games, he does not look or play the same. Like, Kojima games are just too unique that way, but yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, non-lethal play is made more rewarding because the game's toolset is like a little bit more expansive and more fun to play around with, and each boss fight which you take down non-lethally gives you tools to better approach the game non-lethally. Like, this is a good step forward, though it isn't going to convince all players. And Metal Gear Solid 4 kind of takes a step back from 3 and makes lethal play easier than ever before, but with its new camera and the billion of different guns you can buy. The reason it's a bigger problem is because this game has bigger areas. So we moved away from the kind of like tight corridors. Well, Metal Gear Solid 1 didn't have tight corridors per se, but now we're in the jungle, and while these are still kind of boxy areas, they are much larger, like enemies are more spaced out, which means you have a lot more room to kind of snipe enemies from a distance with a tranquilizer. So that's like one reason why it's a bigger problem. So it's actually a bit easier to kind of just take enemies out one by one with a tranquilizer. While in Metal Gear Solid 2, like the kind of tight, like packed areas, I mean, you didn't have too much room to do it. I mean, you definitely had a room, but it was a little harder to, kind of orient yourself. I really like the camo system because I just love like this type of stealth, this really slower paced stealth of Snake Eater. You're just crawling around like right next to enemies, but like you're completely camouflaged so they don't see you. So you can kind of get the drop on enemies like that, or sometimes you can crouch behind them, hold them up, take them down. Like, just like I don't know, something about that. Like, I mean, the faster pace of like the previous games is really fun, but this is it. Like, we're going to take this guy out with the tranquilizer. So yeah, I will be using the tranquilizer throughout this video, and it is a very overpowered weapon, though there has been some restrictions put on it in Snake Eater. Not strong enough restrictions to like make it ineffective. In fact, it's too effective. But I don't know, I mean, it was kind of an issue in Metal Gear Solid 2 because you can kind of just point and click at enemies and they'll pretty much go down. Though here it may be a bigger or smaller problem. So up here we're going to do a trick where we pretty much knock down a beehive, and the beehive knocks all the enemies into the next area, so you don't even have to sneak past them. You just kind of run with them. So yeah, I'll wait for that guy to kind of run over there. Now I'm going to run over here, and I'm going to wait for this enemy to bump into the other enemies because I'm not 100% sure on this, but I feel like if I did it earlier, the other enemies might see me and that might screw up the pattern, which I'm trying to get here. So yeah. A common occurrence with Jaguar King's videos is that some of the strategies are so like I don't know, complex and hard to do that I just have trouble even doing them, and I sometimes just straight up don't do them. So his videos can be very helpful, but sometimes they can be like immensely like frustrating to copy in a sense. It's like some of these things just require real skill, and like Jaguar King's got plenty of it. I have skill. Yeah, I'm good at games. Safe area, which is kind of weird for Metal Gear. Like, I don't know, I mean, with Metal Gear Solid, like, 1 and 2, you kind of start off in some of the more complicated areas of the game. Like, this is more true for, like, the first Metal Gear Solid, which, like, the second area is probably the most complicated, like, stealth challenge in the entire game. While here, this game's a little bit more paced out with its difficulty. So here we're going to start off with some pretty, like, easy challenges here and there. Like, I don't know, the harder stuff comes like way later in the game. So yeah, here is a fight which I destroy, and it's also one which a lot of people are scared, but I'm just gonna go full tiger drop on it. Feel the force, because guy has gun, he isn't playing fair, so I'm just gonna tiger drop all his mates. And oh, here we have a massive spike in difficulty. What is this? So pretty much we go from just a bunch of like regular nondescript group fights, like whatever, to most of these guys have guns, and also their telegraph is insanely annoying. Like, I mean, to be fair, telegraphing guns has always been like a weird issue in Yakuza. There's Yakuza 2 where the guy would just, you know, shout, but like his gun like cocking is kind of silent. Here we have the gun cock, but they cock it so fast. Like, oh man, like it's literally like, I swear it's like a second to react. They go and when you get hit and it's so annoying. Holding the run button, ugh, annoying. Like, that was just so annoying. It graded very fast. Why couldn't we just have like a nice jog whenever we like held the stick forward? Like, you know, hold the stick like slightly to walk, or, you know, the previous games had a better solution for this. Just like hold down like, you know, one of the bumpers and you could walk. So, you know, if you wanted to walk in like some of the more tight confined areas, which, you know, you couldn't exactly run in naturally, then yeah, just hold down the button to walk instead of like this thing where you have to hold down like X to run everywhere. Like, so annoying. This game's music is fantastic. Ed's theme is awesome. Somiya's theme is awesome. Like, I mean, let's go. So here we have another fight with Somiya, and he's not naked anymore. So here we're going to be relying a lot more on dash attacks just to kind of place the enemy around the room where I want him. This game's camera. Ah! The game's camera. Bruh. Man, this game's camera can be so ass at points, especially when you activate extreme heat mode. Oh, you looking at this, I can't see the enemy. And I mean, like the camera being so zoomed in has like screwed me over when I try to do like a dropkick heat action in extreme heat mode, but I can't even see where the enemy is sometimes, so I'll just like dropkick into thin air. And I mean, that's not fair. The enemies can actually like avoid dropkicks, you know. I mean, there's also that. Ishin was a great game where, you know, it's like Yakuza but you use a sword, and it's one of the best games in the series. However, none of those boss fights work when you don't have swords or the combat styles from Ishin. Like, they copied some of those movesets into Zero and Kiwami 2, and there are some of the most annoying fights to deal with in that game. And then they decided to do the same thing in the Dragon Engine, and it is awful. Like, some of the worst mini-boss fights in 6 were just those, like, dudes they copied from Ishin. And here's another guy who is copying a boss fight style from Ishin. He's copying Akiyama from Ishin, who is one of the fastest, who has some of the fastest combos in that game. And he was tricky to deal with in Ishin. Imagine dealing with him in the Dragon Engine. I'm gonna make a bit of a mistake. It's where pretty much I hold up everyone up. I pretty much hold everyone up and I succeed in my task. But then for some reason, like, the game kind of just stands there paused, waiting for me to Fulton everyone. And me, being the very intelligent man that I am, I did not Fulton anyone. Like, I don't know, this game, like, during these combat encounters kind of has these brief pauses, which it gives you to Fulton more people. And that's a pretty smart design choice, though sometimes I don't take advantage of it. This also happens in like the actual combat encounters where every enemy's like on full alert. The way the slams work now are really satisfying. I mean, it was really satisfying in 3, but in 4 it was kind of nerfed. You kind of just throw them like a little pillow. While here the impact is back. And also, they added a new thing where if you slam one enemy, you can, like right next to another enemy, you can also chain slam that other enemy. So you can more easily knock out 6 guys all at once, and yes, that will happen in this video. When you pause to like skip cutscenes, there's no pause, which I kind of miss, because I don't know, usually if I'm trying to pause a cutscene, I want to actually pause it, but in this game the cutscene keeps going, so it's really only there to skip it. It's kind of like, bro, come on, which I'm sure is an accommodation for like the co-op play this game has. Also, this game has co-op play, so you could play like the sneaking missions with 2 people, so you can bring up a friend to help you sneak. And for these boss fights, you can bring 4 people, because these boss fights tend to have a lot of health, so 4 people allow you to take it down faster. You'll come across some Metal Gears and be like, Metal Gear. How do you do it? How do you do a David Hayter voice? Colonel, Metal Gear, Metal Gear. There is kind of a codec in this game, but it doesn't really have the same use as the codec in previous games. Instead, like, the use of what the previous codec had is now put into the cassette tapes. So yeah, a lot of extra story details and exposition is put into cassette tapes, which you can collect by doing specific things during missions or just by completing side content in general. There's also briefing files for what I believe are all the missions, but the issue is that I beat some of these missions in less than a minute, dog. Like I mean, there was a previous mission which I beat in like about a minute, and there's an upcoming mission which I'll also beat in like less than a minute. Each different tank boss fight has like a certain checklist of enemies you have to take out. And then once you take out like that checklist of enemies, like on a 4, 8, 12, then the captain pops up, which allows you to like non-lethally trank him in the head. Though, I don't know, like, I mean, I get pretty lucky here because he just stops randomly and I get a good headshot and I'm able to land more headshots after that. But you're not always going to get this chance. And one way to kind of like make this chance happen is to bring a machine gun to pretty much like shoot out these gas tanks. Shooting at the gas tanks puts the tank like in a standstill, so that the guard doesn't move or really do anything, and then you'll have an easier time getting a shot in. I just got really lucky with this one. And that's how you handle this tank boss fight, though. That's not going to work for all the tank boss fights, especially when like the number of soldiers just keep spawning gets higher and higher. You only have the trank pistol to work with. You don't have an actual pistol, so that already shows you like, you know, a non-lethal option. And once you have like an actual pistol to work with, you still have like that non-lethal option in the back of your head. So that's one way to encourage non-lethal play. And also it plays thematically into the story because Snake's trying to escape his past. He doesn't want to be a killer who enjoys killing, who enjoys all the killing. Because, I don't know, just like in Snake Eater, there was so many different ways to interact with guards, and also the environment could play into it. You could get like an animal and use that as a distraction weapon. While here, it's just kind of like, I mean, you can hold up guards, and you can kind of do it in a kind of speedrun fashion, and it's kind of just, that's it, yeah. The one thing I don't like about the way they reinvented the CQC is that when you put a guard into a chokehold, you can't move. All you can do is choose the direction which you're going to throw him, which is a shame. Also, you can't move bodies anymore, which is always a big shame when a stealth game removes your ability to do so when the previous games allowed you to do so. I'm looking at you, Splinter Cell Conviction. But like in a game like this, like in Peace Walker, which is so small scale, I can kind of understand. But guards can still notice bodies and wake them up, so I still want to move them, dog. Like, let me move bodies. Come on, man. This game is really simple. You just kind of, most of the time, enemies will be positioned such a way we can just run up to them and just hold them up. Like, look at that. I'm just going to run up on this guy, hold them up, and boom, they're on the ground immediately. No cause, no harm, you know, whatsoever. But now here is something which I have seen no one use. The bloody shield. Because, I mean, a lot of the issues with taking damage in this game come from the shield. No, come from machine gun fire. And you know what blocks machine gun fire? The shield. So here is the shield. The thing is, you can't exactly use the shield if you're using a weapon that requires more than like one hand to use. So like on the rocket launchers and the big big boss fights, you can't exactly take advantage of the shield because you're gonna be using the rocket launcher. So yeah, some of these stealth challenges have a pretty one-way solution to them. Like, how else are you gonna deal with the guy sniping up ahead which you can't reach whatsoever? I am playing on what is practically New Game Plus, though this game doesn't exactly have a New Game Plus since it has a mission structure. You know, after you like get a lot of like end game weapons, you can just revisit those like previous missions with more end game weaponry, like my sneaking suit here and the Soliton radar. Now the Soliton radar is something which I don't want to use too much, but I decided to use a little bit just for fun because hey, you can unlock the Soliton radar. Isn't that neat? And that's how I was able to verify their sight lines, and as you can see there, they're pretty short. This game not only has QTEs during cutscenes, it also has these little interactive moments, and these aren't too bad, but some of the other ones can be a little bit annoying. But some of these things are nice. It's just too bad that they're unskippable. And also, whenever you try to skip them, there's like that little annoying like noise that happens, a little like, bro, I want to skip it. Don't tell me that noise. Come on, man. Oh, something weird which can happen when you smoke a certain enemy is that sometimes they'll be smart enough that they'll just stay laying down, and then if they stay laying down, then you can't exactly CQC them because they're on the ground, and you can't hold them up until they're done being smoked, so that can kind of waste time. However, there I got very lucky that the smoke grenade actually made him stand up before he got smoked, because if he got smoked while still laying down, that would just waste my time. So here we're going to take kind of the left path. Within the main ops, there is a normal Metal Gear Solid game inside, just like the previous entries. You could combine main ops like 1 through 26 into one continuous game, and you would have something like the previous entries. But then there's all the extra ops and the mother base stuff, plus the post-game main ops, which add a lot more longevity to the game, which I appreciate a lot because I haven't lost that tight linear Metal Gear Solid campaign, but I also have a lot more to play with when I'm done with it. I love this roll that I'm about to do right now. Look at that. Boom! Like right in their face. Like even with ghosting, I have made the game harder. I am having more fun. These enemies are still dumb as bricks. And like there is a charm to it, but like these are some of the dumbest enemies I've faced in the Metal Gear Solid saga. It's not just that they're dumb, they're very slow to react to anything. So, you know, a lot of the other enemies in Metal Gear Solid tends to have pretty dumb enemies, but I think like in Metal Gear Solid 2, they're pretty quick to react and they call their radio. Like in the other games, like they always have these counterattacks, but here they are the slowest to go to alert. You can basically just run straight up to them, slam them to the ground, hold them up, and they'll like just be stuck forever. And also when you hold them up, they tend to be there for a really long time. The reason I recorded this on the PS Vita is because I hacked my PS Vita, and I was having so much fun with the concept of a hacked PS Vita and the fact that I could record off of it, that I just kind of felt inclined to play Peace Walker on it again. I started an... Oh man. It's pretty chilly today, so I got a bit of a cold, bit of a mucus thing. I'm gonna sound like this for the rest of the video. You just kind of go past these enemies like this, because once you cross that threshold there, they're never gonna come back to look at you. If you cross the threshold at an earlier point, the enemy's actually gonna cross in on there, and it's not gonna be good. I'm gonna drop that voice now. And here, like, look at this. Like, I mean, ghosting creates these little fun opportunities where you sneak past the enemy, like just, you know, like neck and neck. If you're just holding up enemies and throwing smoke grenades to pretty much like, incapacitate them, it's like cutting off the legs off a dog. Actually, it's like cutting off the legs off of anyone. Everyone needs their legs. The extra ops are pretty much kind of like the VR missions and the alternate missions in Metal Gear Solid 2, but it's like they also have the same issues that those missions have, though. I say like Peace Walker is a better version of what the VR missions and the alternate missions are trying to do. Like they feel a little more substantial, but it's still like they pad out a lot of things, like a lot, and it's mostly like Peace Walker's main issue is those tank and helicopter battles. Goodness. This is my no commentary version is actually the first time that one of my videos got copyright claimed, but I got to share my monetization. Every other time it said the monetization was like illegible. That's the wrong word. It was like just not possible, or my video got blocked worldwide. That only happened once for like my Yakuza licensed music thing, and I was able to deal with it. But like for every other video, it's like, oh, you can't monetize this at all. But here is the first time I can share monetization. However, here I'm trying to talk a lot, because if I talk over the copyrighted song like loudly enough, it'll actually like not be seen as copyright. I gotta say, I absolutely hate the QTE stuff. Is stupid. Here's my strats. Pretty much start off by blocking, which will lead him to do that little attack where he like throws his little chain, and then stop blocking, because what this does to his enemy AI is that he just immediately, he goes for that move usually, and once he's done with that move, which you can also block that move, you can go in for a full combo. Why? I don't know, his guard's down. This little combo I do here, you're gonna see it a lot more throughout this video, but pretty much it's heavy attack, light attack, and then the way you just kind of do the spinning thing over and over again is like heavy attack, light attack, heavy attack, light attack. I don't do that exact combo here because I'm not fully used to it yet, but this is kind of one of the best ways to deal damage to the boss fight, just kind of, and also a good way to kind of build up that like combo meter. There's an enemy like right in front of us, and here we're just gonna do a little bit of sneaking here. Oh my goodness! Every time this happens, every time I make a Splinter Cell video, I always include one of my failed attempts without noticing. I'm cursed. I'm cursed, man. Man, Splinter Cell is a cursed franchise. I can't go through these editing processes without accidentally including like one of my failed attempts. Oh my goodness. This encounter is really easy if you just camp out here and just start throwing remote mines at them. Just kind of wait for them to show up, and then just boom, blow them up. It's pretty easy. Just keep doing it. Boom. Look at that guy go. And then I'm just gonna keep doing it. Okay. Oh, that guy's showing up. He's kind of far from the explosion. Nope, it still affects him. Lol. And we are done. I believe I'm going to just straight up take him out from the air, because I think it's a very cool takedown. Look at that. Isn't that animation so cool? I wanted to keep it in the video. Also, I wanted to show off that you can indeed hide bodies, though for most of my strategies, hiding bodies is irrelevant, but you can do it, and that is one of the many big improvements which I really like from Conviction. So yeah, with Direct 9, so you can't alt-tab out of the game, so it's like, alright, that's just something I have to deal with. I'm not going to alt-tab out of the game. However, an old nemesis from my previous Splinter Cell video came back to haunt me, sticky keys. Who likes sticky keys? I don't even know what they are, but if you press shift way too many times, you get kicked out of your game with a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to turn on sticky keys? Like, no. So I got kicked out of my game, out of my own, like without my control, and now I can't get back into the game because the game just won't start up again since it's on Direct 9 for some reason. They just don't like doing that. Yeah, put a smoke grenade here. It's going to confuse the enemies when you get into here, and it's going to make your chances of not getting shot easier. So here you're going to be able to get a bit of a stealth knockout, because if you just approach these enemies immediately, it's going to be a combat knockout, and you do not want that. You want as many points for the Ghost Mastery. This is the glitch I keep encountering. I would climb up to this window, and I literally could not move. I would be stuck clinging onto the window. I could not go in. I could not drop down, and I don't know what causes it, but it was infuriating. It happened to me like 5 times, and I had to restart the entire mission just because of that. I had to I had to exit the game. I don't know what causes it, but it was infuriating. And there, something very funny happened where I climbed a window and I broke glass, but there was no sound. Like, the enemies were kind of alerted by that, but maybe they weren't alerted by that. It's just like, it was a funny little inconsistency. Yeah, like, just follow my path. You have to kind of like follow this path, or you drop down and you climb up again, because I don't know. The reason I hate the dogs is because, well, I mean, just like in the first Splinter Cell, they can just smell you. Like, I don't know, they have like a boss fight move set. Instead of just being like a normal enemy which works on like vision or like sight and sound, they just work on smell. So like, once you're in the area, they can smell you and they are already suspicious, and once they're suspicious, other enemies start getting suspicious, and you're just in their area. Like, it's like you're fighting a boss fight, but you're also surrounded by a bunch of other like normal enemies. I hate it. Like, I don't know, they're so clairvoyant, and it's just like, they're not fun to deal with. You have to like predict their movements. You can't react to their movements, because by the time you're reacting to them, they're already on full alert, and it's just like, that's not fun. Don't put dog enemies into your game. I appreciate the enemy variety, but I do not appreciate dogs. Like, they react the same way the skulls react in Metal Gear Solid 5, but in Metal Gear Solid 5, they're a boss fight. They're like a main encounter. This isn't like, dogs shouldn't be a boss fight today. Ah! I like the villain in this game. Like, he's not great, but like, I think his performance alone sets him apart. Did you see that? Like, I thought I would make a video called Splinter Cell Blacklist Funny Moments, and I would include that moment in that video, because I didn't think it would happen again, but it keeps happening. He just freaking ragdolls across the entire room for no reason. It's like, wow, how does that happen? And I'm very glad it kept happening, so I could include it in my no damage video. But like, I mean, 64 sounded cool to me. Yeah, here's another cool level. I just like it because, you're invading like this house. I don't know, just like house invasion. I think it's just a really cool environment for a level. Is it the best level ever? I mean, it's a short level. I mean, I don't think that's bad, but like, it's a little shorter than the other ones. And I decided to bring back the classic green look. I can't scream too much, the throat thing. Something else I'd like to mention about this game is that, well, one, I really like the color of the lights. Like, I don't know, in previous games you couldn't change the color of your lights, except in Chaos Theory. If you mod the game or like manipulate a certain value in the game, you can actually change the color of your lights. In my Chaos Theory video, if you see that video where I no damaged that game, in the first level my lights are actually pink. I changed them to be pink. However, one fatal flaw of Chaos Theory is that you can't change the color of your lights in any other level except the first level. I don't know, for some reason, there must be like some value that forces your colors to be green in every single other level. But in the first level, you can manipulate it. But every other level, you're stuck with green. It's like, I don't want to be green, man. Come on. This is the part that kind of kills me. Like, you have to get really lucky with sneaking past the enemies. I'm going to use like a noisemaker. It's going to maybe distract them, but sometimes these enemies have a nasty habit of turning around at the very last second, like that, look at that. My throat. Oh yeah, perfectionist difficulty. I really like perfectionist difficulty because, well, for one, you can't use the overpowered mark and execute feature, so it changes up your entire play style. You have to be way more stealthy and also do more creative stuff like this. Instead of just pointing and clicking at enemies, you can use grenades and all that. Me, I can't do that voice for the whole video. I have to get to the other side of the place. I think I'm going to do it by taking out guards. Oh yeah, I'm going to do some shooting here. Like, I'll take out that guy way over there. I almost met this. Oh, this is ridiculous. Like, that. One thing stopping me from releasing the video early, because most of the time I release these commentary videos pretty early, usually on the next day, or if the video is really long, on the next 2 or 3 days. But it has been a week, and this throat virus was a big thing affecting this.
because oh my goodness, the throat virus is so annoying. I could barely sleep. I could barely like go about my day without being annoyed by it. Oh, it was just so irritating. It was not fun.
So you have a button to get into cover and you have a button to jump over cover, but for some reason the button that lets you get into cover can also function as a button to jump over cover, and sometimes I'll be trying to get to cover but I'll instead jump over that cover because I'm like moving too fast, and it's like, I already have a button to jump over cover. I don't need a second button to jump over cover. What's wrong with you? Dude. For that first wave of enemies, take them out, but then kind of hide from the second wave of enemies that appear. Like, I mean, if you're like in the vision cones of the second wave of enemies that appear, then you're kind of screwed. Also, try to take these guys out as like fast as possible and try to like get as many takeouts, and don't try to like Briggs take people out, because if Briggs takes someone out, like, you know, that's less points for you. You want to acquire as many like ghost points as possible to get the ghost mastery. You do not want to leave anything to chance. The first Metal Gear Solid games I played were Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3. I picked them up when I was young because I went to like, I don't know, Best Buy, and I picked like 11 games and I just started like eliminating them each one by one. And then I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I'm either going to buy Borderlands 2 or the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. So I asked a random employee, hey, which one should I buy? And he said, dude, Metal Gear Solid is rad. Go buy that. So I bought that, and then I played the games and I was immensely confused. So I was just kind of in an Xbox Live chat with one of my friends who was a huge fan of the series, and just trying to work my way through the games because I kind of gave up on trying to play Metal Gear Solid 2, so I just started with 3, and I was still super confused. I spent like so many play sessions having zero idea like what to do or how to play. So there's this trick you can do with the box, which I'm pretty sure you can still do in this game, is that you get in the box, an enemy approaches you, and when they lift the box, you can like unequip the box, and then like the enemy won't see you, and you can just hold them up because they're still in the process of like picking up the box. So that's like a cool way to get the jump on an enemy that's kind of, you know, hard to approach. But in this game, like, you know, you have the tranquilizer, the areas are really open, you have camo, so you have so many different other ways to approach this game. So yeah, here I'm just gonna knock out all the enemies, and I accidentally let that guy wake up that guy before, and now I gotta knock that guy out. Thankfully they haven't called radio yet, at least I don't think they have yet. Oh, and watch out. When you run out of a suppressor, even if you have multiple suppressors, you have to re-equip a new suppressor. So sometimes if you're like shooting really fast to take out all the enemies, like, I don't know, that might catch you off guard. So, you know, watch out for that. Now here, I don't exactly know what I think I might take this guy out. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm going to take him out with CQC maybe? Yeah, but I'm taking it really slow because, I don't know, like running downstairs makes you slower. There we go. Another gameplay thing is that if you shoot a wall with like a tranquilizer dart, like the caution state will immediately start. So if you don't take out the guy before he calls in radio backup, you're gonna be in a caution state. So never miss your tranquilizer shots, or like never miss them like so close to a wall the enemy's right next to that they would hear it. Just, you know, word to the wise. Anyways, here I'm gonna do some. This is the only time I'm gonna hold an enemy up, because I don't know, I don't really need to hold the enemy up most of the time, but I kind of wanted to get a few more materials, so you know, why not? And also I just think it's super cool, just like slowly sneak up on an enemy, like holding them up. It's like one of like the cool things you can learn to do in this game. But I'm just kind of sad I don't do it much in this video. Like, there's a lot of things you can do in Snake Eater which go beyond what I do in this video to no damage and like beat it in under 3 hours. Well, I mean, my official time is over 3 hours, but this video is under 3 hours, so I don't have to commentate for over 3 hours. But, you know, whatever. The games in general just kind of have like skill menus, and I kind of in the game which teach you about certain techniques, so you kind of have to go into those and see everything that you can do, because it's a little bit much to take in as a first time player. Like, I wouldn't say the games are necessarily like that complicated, especially like in other aspects. Like, I don't know, the areas are a little bit small compared to other like stealth games. Like, I don't know, I mean, the stealth encounters like usually only really happen around like with 4, maybe at most maybe 7 or 8 guys in one area, and the areas aren't too big. Like, compare that to like Splinter Cell, like Chaos Theory, which is like all one huge loaded in area. I mean, not huge, but like it's like one big area, while here it's just like smaller chunks which like make up one big adventure. So like on a chunk by chunk basis, it's not as complicated as something like Splinter Cell, but here's where like the complications come in. I don't know, when compared to like modern stealth games, like a lot of stuff in Metal Gear Solid isn't that automated, and while future entries would automate more of like its takedowns, like, I don't know, it would have prompts for when you can take a guy out or not, which is helpful. Here it just kind of, you gotta know. I've played this game like 9 times. I mean, like 6 or 7 if I didn't include the playthroughs I did for the platinum, because I did platinum this game on the Vita. I did really love playing Snake Eater on the Vita, despite all the nerfs to like your aiming and whatnot. Well, thankfully in Snake Eater this isn't too much of an issue. I mean, no damage would be very annoying, but playing it normally, like the Vita version of Snake Eater ain't too bad. It's the Vita version of Metal Gear Solid 2 which is a little bit more complicated, just because that game has a lot more sections which rely a lot more on your aiming, and if you're not good with aiming, then parts are going to be hell. Oh, don't worry though, I did also platinum Metal Gear Solid 2 on the Vita as well, including all the VR missions. Like, platinuming Snake Eater on the Vita is way easier than platinuming like Metal Gear Solid 2, just because of the VR missions, and also just Metal Gear Solid 2 is a much harder game overall. Yeah. Here I'm going to pick up some Russian glow caps, which will be very useful for a certain boss fight. However, there is zero reason to pick them up right here, because there comes a certain point in the game where it gets rid of every single food item, and the boss fight, which I need those like glow caps for, is after that point. So pretty much it's absolutely pointless to get them here, but I'm still wasting time getting them here. So back to the basics. So yeah. Anyways, here I'm going to kill some poison frogs, the kind of little red and blue guys, because they will be very useful for a future boss fight. Though to be fair, I could have done that boss fight without them, but I kind of just did it because I like what these frogs do to that boss fight. But anyways, back to the CQC thing. I think what's weird about it, oh yeah, when you step into this water, here, if you hear any type of noise like that, you're gonna want to go into your cure menu and just burn that leech off, because it is a leech and it will drain your stamina super fast. There, it happened again, so go into the cure menu, just kind of take it off. I'm not exactly sure what alerts these leeches. I think it's just when you try to swim underwater, that's probably when they get connected to you. So like every time you do that, boom, that's gonna happen. So yeah, you're gonna want to swim around this left side, go through this log, and you're gonna want to pick up the croc cap, because that is like ominously like pretty much like needed for a certain area in this game. If you miss it, then like I'm sorry for you. So when running at enemies, like they'll turn around, go huh, and there'll be a green like exclamation point over their heads. You have to knock them out before they have the red exclamation point. They kind of take like 2 or 3 seconds before they go red, so you have a brief moment to just kind of run up and take them out, you know, if you just want to run up at them and you don't want to sneak up behind them all slow like. So like that's a pretty easy thing to do with this game's new CQC system, because like the previous games didn't really have a system like this where you could just run up to a guy and knock him to the ground to instantly stun him. The previous games just kind of, you could either choke him out, but that's a little cumbersome because you had to kind of stand still while doing it. Like, you know, you run up to the enemy, then you stand still, and you press the button. When enemies are moving, that can get a little complicated. However, when moving, you can kind of throw enemies, but then enemies will just get back up. So unless you were able to like perfectly combo them immediately when they got up, then it's not gonna work, and you can't do that perfectly all the time. It's a little random, that guy up on the roof, but I don't know. So anyways, run up to these barrels. It's gonna be an enemy way across there. Use the leaning feature in this game. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 kind of have this weird like control system where you can kind of peek around corners, you know, left, right, and then if you hold up, you use like the triggers while looking in first person mode to kind of peek around, so you know, left, right, and you know, you can hold both of them at the same time to look over, so you can kind of stay in cover, look over, and then kind of take someone out there. It gets a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, I don't know, I think it's pretty smooth. Like, you know, not smooth for like firefights or whatever, but this is a stealth game, not exactly a firefight game. And any like, you know, combat encounters in this game usually are like designed in such a way where you don't need to exactly be aiming around in first person like and moving at the same time. And when the game is a little bit more like intense with it, there's still accommodations. Like I can't really think of a combat encounter in this game where I'm frustrated that I have to control it like this, because once he reaches like half of his stamina health, he starts to get hungry. So he'll actually go out and start hunting for food to fill up that stamina bar. So it's like, oh, I gotta be on the lookout. I can't let him get the food. But he's very fast with getting it. However, you can kind of stay ahead of the curve and throw out some food for the fear to get. You know, kind of make his job easier. But you can feed him poison frogs, which will like deplete his life bar a bit. But that's not what I'm trying to do, because throughout, you know, this section, he's also going to throw up, and every time he throws up, he's going to lose a bit of that stamina bar. So here, just throw out a bunch of poison dart frogs, and I can just stand still and wait for him to die. But another great thing which happens while he's eating this food is that he'll stay paused at certain moments to throw up, and during those moments, you can kind of get extra hits on him with like the tranquilizer gun or even just some CQC. But I now learned what vertical slice is. Again, in my Yakuza 7 video, I wanted to say vertical slice, but I didn't know that the term I was trying to refer to was called a vertical slice. Now, what a vertical slice is that usually when making a game, like you kind of want to, you know, demonstrate your mechanics and all that. Like, you know, what is your game about? Like, so usually developers will make like one area or like one level which kind of shows all the mechanics at like their peak perfection, you know, like everything working perfectly as intended, you know, like probably showing the strength of their games all in like one little area. So like that little area with the house, that's probably Snake Eater's vertical slice, showing off like the strength of its like new stealth gameplay, the kind of somewhat emergent way you can kind of mess with the enemy AI and all that. Just, you know, really great stuff, and it's not going to be in this video. This mission looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. Like, there's this whole big house you can explore, but there is zero reason to go there because your objective is literally right in front of you. Like, okay, there's a guard right there, and there's a guard like on top of there, so wait for like that guard over there to be looking away and distract the guard down here with a magazine, and then just run forward and take a left, and you pretty much are at your objective. There's like a whole house you can explore, and it's like pretty cool, but there is zero reason for it. You don't have to go there. It's just there to distract you from like your actual target, which is just, you know, go here, take a right, enter this door, and you're good. Like, I don't know, this is like one of the cooler levels, but there's zero reason to go to like the other part. You're here. Like, that's it. Like, alright. Oh yeah, so I said that I was going to explain why holding up enemies is so important, so I might as well do that now. So yeah, throwing enemies on the ground and holding them up pretty much puts them out of commission forever. I have been engaged in full-out gunfights, full alert, right next to like a guard, like on the ground with his head behind his back, and he will never get up. He will simply never get up while his allies continue to riddle me with bullets. He will simply stand there cowering. And I don't know if like it's like that in Snake Eater, but it's not like that in the Phantom Pain. And I'm pretty sure it's not like that in Guns of the Patriots. Like, I mean, once you go on a full alert, and we're pretty much good to go from there.
Freeze.
I will say, even though I don't like this boss fight too much, this music is awesome. Like, that's another thing about Portable Ops. Like, this game's soundtrack may be like a bit of an underrated gem. There's so many great bangers here. I mean, to be fair, Metal Gear Solid has always had like great soundtracks, but like I'm telling you, do not sleep on Portable Ops. There's a lot of really memorable tracks here. Like this boss fight track is so tense, like fast paced, like just awesome stuff indeed. And this game has a lot of really great tracks, a lot of really good like really good banging, like chill sneaking tracks, and a lot of like really epic tracks as well. And you'll see what I mean as we go on with this video. So you have your health bar and your stamina bar. Your stamina bar is always going to be running out, but the thing about the stamina bar is once it runs out, you die. Why? That is like the stupidest thing you could do. Seriously? Like, oh my goodness, I hate that so much. I hate that when you like run out of stamina, you literally die. You don't get tired, like your weapon doesn't like, you know, become faulty, you know, like in the previous games and in future games, if you ran out of stamina, like your aim, you get a little weird, you get like, you would throw up and stuff, but here, you run out of stamina, you die. I don't like the lack of multiple save files in this game because, like, I mean, in Peace Walker, it was kind of the same deal. Wait, actually, no, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure you can have multiple save files in Peace Walker, so never mind, but I don't know, I mean, at least in Peace Walker, if there was only one save file, I could just, you know, retry missions for better scores, but here you can't retry missions, so only having one save file, like, it just kind of ruins the replay value quite a bit, and also, it means that if I want to replay a certain section, I have to, like, redo, like, nearly the whole game to get to that section. So it's just kind of like, I want more save files, man. Come on. This fighting style is called Extreme Dance Performance, and I love all of this little animation. Like, I'm just grabbing this dude's legs, just kicking him, like, wow! And then there's like that one time where I grabbed him from the front, just a little, oh, so good. Yeah, this game's animation work is just dope, and I do hear that most of it is copied from Def Jam, but hey, I mean, you know, it's not like this is the first time the series has copied animation, so hey, here's this new guy, and I hate this fight so much. I have to apply the same strategy as Hyuga's second fight, except it's worse here, because what this guy does pisses me off so much. So pretty much what this guy does is, like, you try to grab him, he'll dodge and then immediately hit you with a dodge attack. It's so infuriating because, you know, you grab, he dodges back, immediately hits you. It is like nearly impossible to block, dodge. You can't dodge it because you already tried the little grab and you're stuck in that grab animation, and he just goes in to clip you. It's so infuriating. For this guy in particular, Hayato, I hate this guy. This fight is such garbage. And the reason is that it goes against my strat completely. So this guy's like crazy, right? You know who else is crazy? Majima. So, just like Majima, this guy dodges around a ton, which means he is always dodging my grabs. It's so infuriating. I was just spamming that grab button to like grab him, but he kept dodging. Ugh, I hate that guy so much. Cause I grab, he dodges. I grab, he dodges. Like, what a pain. I hate this guy. This guy's quite easy, except for his heat mode. What is that? What is that? That is so annoying. You don't know how infuriating that heat mode is, because all the other heat modes, you just run away from them. With this guy, you get screwed most of the time if you run away. However, I accidentally like got screwed and had to run away, and I got extremely lucky 3 times in a row and was able to dodge the attacks by like running away. But that's not what you want to do with this guy. With this guy, you want to like pretty much keep a good distance away from him. Let him do his little like dodgy thing until he goes in for like the killer attack, and then dodge that killer attack. Because if you try to run away, he just hones in on your ass and just like beats it to a pulp. This is probably one of the only times I can use the Mark II like safely. I mean, I can get caught and there's no alert phase, because if you use it during normal gameplay and the enemy actually sees the Mark II, it will activate an alert phase. So you like, even with the Mark II, you have to be sneaky, because if you're not sneaky, boom, a weary snake. It completely like, it just makes the story a lot more special than it would be normally if it was just another adventure with old, like, you know, young handsome Snake. Nah, dog. Like, bring out the stash. You know, bring out the gray hair, dog. Like, bring out like the. Always aim forward. You don't really have to look back. Like, there's gonna come a point where like the tank's just gonna automatically move you to face the gecko. Because if you turn back, you're just gonna miss the gecko in front of you, and then the gecko in front of you are gonna shoot you up, and you do not want that, especially when you have such little health like I have right now. No. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people involved, and you cannot kill a single one. However, one way to get past this is to shoot barrels, because if you shoot a barrel and the explosion kills someone, it doesn't count as your kill. So here begins Act 3's like set piece, and it's pretty much just like a big reference to Snake Eater set piece. It has very similar camera work, and also it's kind of let down by the fact that you have to aim your gun. Like, okay, what I mean by that is that when you're aiming your gun, you have like a fixed camera, but if you don't aim your gun, the game has all these like sick ass dynamic angles that look like really cinematic and awesome, but for the most part, you're not gonna be looking at them because you're gonna be aiming your gun, shooting at people. Metal Gear Solid 5 is mostly like desert and pretty boring areas. Now we got this game. I mean, we have the desert. We're gonna have a jungle later on. We're gonna have like a noir type city, like pretty much Europe. Then we're gonna have like snow, and then like a more metallic look. I mean, the game's got a lot of variety going on. This one is a weird complaint, so you're gonna have to hear me out on this. But like, the whole conflict of this game feels really fake. Like, I don't know, what I'm trying to explain is that it's like really weird. Like, Ocelot has control of the whole SOP system by completing a collection of esoteric conditions, which now allows him to stop guns from firing by pointing at them. Like, I get it's part of his show, but like, what the actual fuck is going on? Did he just like code his takeover the SOP system to shut down all the guns except his own? Does he just own guns which aren't under the SOP system? That's probably true. I don't know, it just feels like bloody magic. Like, the previous games also had this weirdness to them in a sense, but it works better there. Like how a lot of Metal Gear Solid's like main conflicts are actually outside of your vision and control, like Naomi being arrested through codec calls. It adds this great tense atmosphere and plays well to the themes of the game. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid 2, because it plays well to its confusing virtual reality angle. But for Metal Gear Solid 4, it's just weird now. Like, I want more grounded explanations for how these dumbass systems work. Perhaps the word I'm looking for isn't esoteric, it's abstract. The sense theme, I'm having trouble describing it, but hell, I guess that applies also in sense. Like, what sense is like Kojima trying to pass on here? I guess that's part of the meta narrative. I don't know, but like, one thing which makes the sense theme really relatable to me is that when I'm watching someone speedrun and I can't for the life of me interpret what the fuck they did to, like, you know, actually do the thing they did, and I can't copy it, that's a sense theme at work, you know? Like, they can't pass on their sense. That's a real world application for that, and I'm sure there's a lot more applications besides just video games. I don't know how all are hiding places, but I do know quite a few. So yeah, she did a big jump there, and pretty much what you want to do now is bait out her machine gun attack, but you also want to make sure, whoa, you want to make sure that you like have enough like cover to pretty much like hide it out, and then once she's done shooting, pop out, get a few shots in there. Very nice. It's a very specific timing. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah. Now here there's a window. Windows can be very dangerous in this fight because she can jump out of windows and then jump through windows, and honestly, I don't think really any area is safe from windows, so you always have to be very aware. But in order to reload a save, you have to do like this entire thing where you select the world, you go through this cutscene with Donald, where like Sora and Donald are having like an argument or something, like, oh Sora, you no, that's not how Donald talks. That's like, I forgot how to do a Donald Duck voice. That's like a... And Sora's like, you're mean, I could drive the ship, and then like they crash the ship in Tarzan. This isn't exactly the safest thing I'm doing right here. In fact, like once he goes for like the big boom over there, one of them almost hits me. Like, I mean, I almost get hit by that, but I didn't. Like I got really lucky. But yeah, we will be revoking Ursula's license to be a giant woman by killing her. And that's the thing with Kingdom Hearts, you kill people in this game. Like, you just straight up slaughter some people every now and then. Like, I mean, I think I'm misremembering a lot of the cutscenes to kind of, like, fit that narrative. But no, you just straight up kill people sometimes. Like, Kingdom Hearts 2 is kind of a slaughter fest, but it's a slaughter fest in the sense that, you know, in the next game, they'll just be like, actually, all those people you just killed in cold blood actually didn't die. You know, they came back because they were, like, in the metaverse or something. It's just like, I hate this guy. This guy is terrible. Like, this dude, oh, he's so annoying. It's just like what I'm saying. Like, it's just hitting him with melee attacks over and over and over. But there's one annoyance. The guy has really lanky legs. So you have to jump on this chair, then you have to jump onto him and attack him. And, you know, in the beginning it's not so bad, but then later on he becomes super, I mean, to be fair, I mean, in the beginning it's really bad if you're still getting used to, like, platforming in this game, because, well, the platforming is a little bit janky. Okay, at this part, when this thing came out, I was like, like, I was like losing my mind when these things came out. Like, it was like in the middle of the fight. I was actually like shrieking and screaming. Like, my roommate was like, hey, yo, bro, stop doing that. But like, now, man, I was like insane because like I was so close to getting damaged by that. Look how much little health like Oogie Boogie has. Like, because I kind of have this bug that I want to replay every single Metal Gear Solid to do like a ghost run or to like do the run better. And some of my previous Metal Gear Solid videos, I sometimes take damage in areas which I thought were impossible, but then I learned years later from watching speedruns or other videos that no, it's not impossible. I just didn't know the strategy or I didn't try hard enough. Now, my original Peace Walker video, I did no damage every single part of the game. This area has like elevations. It has like different verticality. Whoa! There's a guy walking there. Oh dear. I've never seen anyone do it. I've never seen anyone upload a video called Peace Walker boss fights, no damage. I've only, like, there's speed runs. Maybe someone did it in a speed run. I don't know. I'm not going to see the entire speed run just in case there's a no damage. Though maybe I should have done that research just to be 100% sure. But thankfully, I was able to no damage the boss fights on my own terms. I have not seen a single video of someone no damaging this level, and I can understand why, because it is absolute hell. But I did it, and I'm happy with it. But like, yeah, we're going to tranquilize these two guards, and then we're just going to move on from there. Oh my goodness. Like, I mean, thing is, the shield is not 100% a perfect way to block all shots. Sometimes like a stray bullet will hit you, but you just gotta pray that it doesn't. You can shoot down the kidnapper on top of a guard, and if you kill them, it won't count as you. I mean, like, this game, like, the series has had stuff like that where if you shoot an explosive barrel at a guard, and like and if the guard dies from the oh yeah, did you hear that? We so needed that explained. That one is particularly horrible. I screw up my strategy, and it becomes into a mad dash of like trying not to screw everything up. Like, there's like 4 dudes here. This dude ran up ahead, and now like I'm gonna try to switch to a different weapon, like the trank pistol, to trank him. But I take way too long, and then like this dude keeps running at me. Like, what? So now I'm trying to to kind of throw this guy over, and it's like, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna shoot him. That's like, ah! Now I have to throw this guy over, but that guy over there has a machine gun. Block him immediately. Like, ah! Like, oh my god, I had to block the pistol. Like, it's so stressful, but like, I could have screwed that up so easily if I did not immediately block his shots. And now, okay, there's 2 guys over there that I think they're still kind of stunned by the smoke, so like, I'm gonna try to trank them, you know, right? You know, trank there, you know, nice. Okay, I'm missing a few shots. That doesn't really matter much, right? Just kind of a few more times, you know, trank him a few more times. Trank him a few more times. Stop missing. Trank him a few more times. Trank him a few more times. Come on, man. Keep tranking him. Keep tranking. Ah! Like, bro, what the f? Did you see that? Spoilers. Here is the most challenging part of no damaging all the main ops. Oh my goodness, nothing comes close to this. So we're gonna start off. We're gonna have the shield. We're gonna have the battle suit. We have the little tranquilizer. Hold up. We have the shield. We're gonna take out this guard over here. It takes like 3 tranquilizer points to take him out. I don't know, shoot him twice. And now we're gonna switch to like an Uzi. The reason I'm gonna use a little Uzi here is because like it's the only machine gun which you can really like one hand, so you can still like be protected by the shield while using the Uzi. Once we take out that little rover, we're gonna tranquilize this guy. And this guy has an annoying pattern of like slipping into cover, but whatever. We're gonna take him out, reload, roll to the next part. Sniper over there. Monster Hunter design is kind of like, hey yo, here's a boss that will take like 30 to 40 minutes, though with a few of your mates, you can cut that down to like 5 or 10 minutes. And Peace Walker kind of takes that same approach with its boss fights, and it makes them quite annoying when you're fighting them alone. And especially when like the only bosses you fight in this game are giant health sponge robots. Like, they aren't really bad fights at all. Each one of them has a distinct design and feel to them, and they're probably like the best giant robot fights in the series, but they just don't compare to the clever like human encounters of previous games. Like, I'd say there's a good reason previous games only had a giant robot boss at the very end instead of making every single fight a giant robot. No damaging a Monster Hunter game would be sick, but it would also be the biggest time commitment of my life. Because it's like, beating those games normally, every single boss fight, just normally, not even no damage, will take like 300 to 500 hours. So how the fuck am I going to no damage that and also commentate over everything? I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself with the whole commentate over everything thing. No damaging the entire game in general, because the entire game is boss fights. You go to someone, you ask to fight a boss, and you fight a boss. That's the entire game, and like that's the appeal of it. But also like, don't. Why? It's cringe. It's so cringe. However, here I learned that you can actually mess up this once, and you'll still get S rank. So that was nice to know. I almost get screwed, but I saved myself in like the nick of time. Like, here we go. So hold that guy up, but then for some reason that guy saw me, but I'm zoom CQC, drop him on the ground, hold him up, and then there's like a guy right there who also didn't see me. Very nice. I hold him up, and then boom. And I forget if there's someone at the bottom here. Yeah, there is. So there's like a lot of enemies packed in this area compared to the last time. So it can kind of catch you off guard, but boom, we're done. And now we're going to choose Now, when I said that I'm going to ghost this game, sometimes I will have to break that because the mission objectives go against ghosting. Here, you have to take out all the enemies. By take out, you can kill, you can knock them out, you can hold them up, and I'm going to stick for hold-ups. But the way I want to make this area interesting is that I'm going to refuse to use the trank gun. I'm not going to shoot these enemies from across the field, from these safe little cover pieces. I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to hold them up, and I'm going to be sneaky with the jungle fatigue closed, which forces me to be quiet when I get there. The roll is a quiet maneuver. So if you roll into an enemy, it makes no noise. Run to the left immediately, take cover, pull out chaff grenade, boom. It's going to stun the little kidnapper there, so he's not going to be an issue. And then from this cover, throw a bunch of stun grenades, just a whole chunk of them, and then pray that like 3 dudes get stunned by all the stun grenades you're throwing. Because now sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes one of the enemies will just drop down to this platform trying to take you out. And by this point, this chaff grenade probably ran out. So kind of get some space from you and like the kidnapper here, blow it up. Because if you're too close to the kidnapper when you like blow it up, it's gonna like land on you, and like the explosive damage is gonna damage you. Peace Walker's reticle is like weird. I guess they were trying to make like shooting enemies harder but also easier. Because like, I mean, it's not like 100%. There's like a little bit of empty space where you're shooting an enemy where it's gonna hit them, it's not gonna hit them. So it's like easier but also harder to shoot enemies. I don't know, but it's an alright reticle. I'd say it works pretty well. I said something to the effect that Peace Walker can't be that perverted in comparison to previous entries because it was only on the PSP, and I was so wrong. I completely forgot about a lot of the shit in Peace Walker. So here I'm going to chase this guy for no reason. You don't need to chase that guy. He's not going to be part of this level ever again. But I did not know that. So yeah, they just kind of go to the elevator and kind of take that. The main story of this game, the main ops, it only has 3 of these. The extra op has like 40 of these, and they become so obnoxious by the end. But here, it's a pretty cool encounter, and I'm going to try to play it as naked as possible. You know, not use the love box as much, only hold up here, jungle fatigue, you know, Fulton everyone, and there's not going to be that many enemies, so I'm going to have enough Fultons to get everyone. But once you don't have enough Fultons to get everyone, you have to kind of come up with some pretty unusual strategies to clear the competition without causing any kills yourself, or without any kills being added to your scoreboard. Most S ranks I see in this game, like the way they do it is they just have health items and they just kind of power through it to get the best speed. And to be fair, for a certain mission, I believe that's the only way to get the S rank, but for every other mission, you could do it without taking damage just fine. I mean, for speedruns, I understand. It's more about speed, it's not damage, but like, it's just, I should have seen more people no damage these missions like a lot sooner than I have. Could someone tell me if you run slower in the battle suit? Because I mean, it's true in like the Phantom Pain, but I do not know if it's true here in Peace Walker. Oh yeah, so here I'm gonna pull out the little sniper rifle here, and I'm gonna show you that this thing sucks ass. Look at it, it's so shaky and bad. I mean, you're better off just sniping people with a pistol than this bloody sniper. Look at it, ew, dude. Something which amazes me about the Game Boy Advance is the fact that there's certain models. See, here I do the footstep tech, I make a really loud noise, I do a roll before he sees me, and then he's like investigating that, and it somehow works. And it has to be very specific, because, you know, sometimes if you mess up the timing, the enemy will catch you while you're rolling. If you mess up the positioning, you might roll into the enemy, which just kind of ruins the whole thing. And the reason I want to do the footstep tech there is because if I don't do it, what I have to do is basically just kind of like stay behind the enemy, wait for him to get to this point, and it's just really annoying. And also, this enemy is really annoying because he's never ever going to turn around until the other guy makes his way here. So I am going to cause a distraction just so I can quickly get past this guy. Some of the previous levels can get pretty easy. I know you have like the first couple like areas which are like all right but very easy. Then you have that part where like I got so lucky there. I held up that guard, then that guard noticed me, but then I did CQC to knock him out. I don't know, just like those little moments are very exciting. But yeah, like the way I'm breaking like these first two like big robot boss fights kind of ignores a lot of the things they do during the second and third phase. So I don't know, when it comes to analyzing this entire fight, there's a lot of things I'm missing by like booty slamming these boss fights so hard. But you know, the little like kind of, what the hell are these things called? But whatever they're called, it's kind of like the Metal Gear Solid 1 thing, except instead of rising, we're descending.
Oh my god, it's a word demon. Guys, we're a demon now, guys. Guys, I'm already a demon. Guys. Guys.
Whatever. I just like, the PS Vita is a much more comfortable console for me than the PSP. Like, the thumbsticks also just feel better to use on the PS Vita. So even, like, basic movement, I think, just works better on the PS Vita compared to the PSP. Especially since movement is important, because in order to walk quietly near your enemy, you have to like slightly move the thumbstick, not like press it all the way. So you need to have like some precision with the way you handle the game, handle the console, and that is easier to do when you're playing with an entire PS3 or Xbox 360 controller. Now, which one is easier to do with the Xbox 360 or the PS3? I'm not sure. The thermal goggle look is kind of nice. I mean, I do like this shade of green, the blues. The reds, not so much, but... And oh my goodness, Emma's being shot dead while I'm taking care of the mines. Oh, wow. It's fire! Ah! So now we need to use the coolant to take it out. And now this is a part which, like, in my first couple playthroughs I really struggled with. And I don't know, I feel if I pick up the game after forgetting about it for a while, I might also forget how to do this. But I don't know, the way you kind of go about this is shoot at, like, the source of the fire. Don't shoot at the flames. So pretty much just, like, extinguish the ground, not like the flames above the ground. So just hit the ground. Swag. The one sad thing about the PS3 HD collection is that they removed the skateboarding from like the substance. This game had a subtitle which like they added VR missions and they added a skateboarding thing like in a new version of the game. It was called I can't take it anymore. Once we enter this area, there's going to be an enemy hiding here, and then there's going to be the same enemy just kind of doing... No, actually, his patrol's a little different now. So, see, he's there now. Whoa! But if you're quick on it, you can kind of get the drop on him like this. Bada bing, bada boom. But yeah, anyways, Metal Gear Solid 2. Oh, yeah, I remember. So, when I was recording these segmented runs, for some reason, my footage of the swimming section disappeared, which meant I had to load up an earlier save and do it all over again. I was so furious because like, I mean, I had zero idea how like I missed that footage. I could have sworn I exported it, but no, I didn't. And the thing is, this is not the last time it happened. This is only the first of 2 times this happened to me throughout my run of this game. Thankfully, every time this happened, I had a convenient save file, which allowed me to get back and record that section pretty like harmlessly with no real like, not much hassle, though it is annoying because now my footage has a bit of inconsistency because in the re-recorded footage I don't pick up the body armor, but like in my previous footage, which is now lost to time and like just to the ether, I did pick up the body armor. This is important because I used the body armor later in this video, but in this video you're gonna be like, you never picked it up, what's going on? It's because the footage, which like just doesn't exist, even though I could have sworn it recorded it, had the body armor, but now this re-recorded footage doesn't. You have to shoot the glass, and you really have to hope that the glass, like, brings together the two enemies. You have to kind of really time this really well, that when you do that freeze, the other enemy doesn't get too far away from you. The way I did it here isn't exactly ideal, but it works. Hey, check it out. And I guess you also have to watch out for which enemy is the correct one to hold up. And alongside the big boss requirements, there's also the game over screen in the plant section of the game, which honestly might be a little too early to mention this, but every time you get a game over in the plant section, the game over screen will actually tell you important stats related to what you're doing. And it comes in this order. So there's arm strength, which is the number of pull-ups you've done. There's the prude endurance, there's the number of times the player has saved. There's the aminous ED, that's the number of ammo you used. And then there's the alert num, which is the number of times alert mode was triggered. And this is really useful to check because sometimes you might activate an alert without knowing you actually activated an alert. And this happened to me later in the game, and actually I'm going to mention it later. The first steps I took for my first save. First save steps, go. Step 1, collect first tag and M9 ammo in first hallway after start area. Step 2, collect one tag in shadow showcase after ignoring rest area. Ignoring a funny way is a funny way to put it. Step 3, collect 3 tags in area before Olga and loudly move past first enemy to draw in second enemy into your area and enter room on right to spawn in third enemy, and also enter the kitchen to change enemy spawn location coming back. That's what I'm doing right now. So, if my words don't make sense, hopefully my visuals do. In order to get the big boss rank at the end of this game, you need to do the tanker and plant section combined. You can't just do tanker or plant by itself. It needs to be on extreme difficulty or higher. The time has to be 3 hours or less. You have to use 0 continues, 0 rations, 0 kills. You can only do the alert mode 3 times. However, those 3 times is actually lying straight to your face because there's 3 forced combat sections in the game, and that's what they're talking about. So really, you can get 0 alerts. The shots fired have to be 700 or less throughout the entire game. In terms of mech damage, you have to kill under 60 mechs. That includes camera, ciphers, MG rays. Yes, so really the actual number is 40. Under 40 camera, ciphers, so on and so forth. Damage received, 10 health bars or less. So if you take more than 10 health bars worth of damage, you will lose the big boss rank, but I'm going to do no damage for this entire video, so it doesn't really matter. No special items, no stealth camo, no funny hair, and no radar, so you have to turn that off. This is not very useful for big boss run. In fact, the rest of this isn't really very useful for big boss run, it's just like coordinates. And here, I'm really messing up this no damage. Oh my gosh, this is so risky. Like, this also wastes a lot of time, but yeah, I'm just doing like melee attacks. If you mess this up even like a little bit, the enemy will get the jump on you, but I'm just landing very correct melee shots. I shot him like 3 to 4 times. He's not dead. He's heavily injured. He feels so sad and like angry because like, dude, you just shot me 4 times. Why did you do this? And we don't have the coolant, so we can't wake him up very quickly. However, he's only stunned. He's not asleep, so it's not going to take too many, like, what do you call this? Like a lawnmower technique to wake him up, and then we finally wake him up and we get to do this whole thing. This does kind of throw my whole rhythm off. This is not the right way to do things, but it worked out. I'm just so glad I didn't take damage. I'm on the edge of my seat. Why are you doing this? Didn't you already make another 2-hour and 50-minute video, no damaging the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 2? Well, I have some regrets about that previous video. Number 1, I didn't no damage the entire game. Some of the sections near the end, I took damage because I thought they were impossible. Number 2, I did not get the big boss rank. In that previous video, I killed a lot of people. I got caught a few times. I used way too many saves. And number 3, I did not get every single dog tag. In fact, I got no dog tags because my previous run was on European Extreme where there's no dog tags, but my favorite way to play the game, and the way I play it normally when I boot it up, is getting all the dog tags in this game. And here's our first dog tag right here in this hallway. Very simple one. The way I mess up here is really strange. Because basically, like, I hold him up there, I get his tag, but then when I run past him, the lock-on locks onto another person. I unequip my weapon. When you unequip the weapon, then he gets alerted, but, I do a melee attack, then I do, like, the grabbing chokehold attack, and we kind of go from there. If you don't know how this game plays, that might be a little bit confusing to understand, but basically, you hit him with a melee attack to kind of, like, get these guys off balance, and then you kind of spam the choke one just to kind of land the choking animation. But when you press the choke button, you can't move, because moving and pressing the choke button is a different input than just standing still and pressing the choke button. You stand still, press the choke button, you choke them. You move and press the choke button, you do a judo flip. So we're going to take 2 photos in particular during this section. We're going to backtrack through this area because there's some people on the bottom floor of the first parts of this military hold, which, you know, you can't get them if you go through the roof of the area. So we're going to backtrack to get them. And these dog tags are actually only available on the subsistence version, because if you play the original English release of Sons of Liberty, there's less dog tags to get and, you know, less of a challenge. So I decided to play at the subsistence version. But I hear that the Japanese Sons of Liberty release of the game actually has all the dog tags which subsistence has. But I'm not playing the Japanese copy of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. That people do not want you to do that. People recommend that you drop your first save when you reach like the plant section or when you reach the bomb disposal tutorial. But just for my own sanity, I decided to save at the beginning of this, because if I had to do the Olga boss fight and this back to back every time I failed, I just lose my mind. Because the Olga fight just has like a few things which are kind of a pain in the ass to activate. And this, if you fail this, it just becomes really painful. Though I will say, repeating this over and over and over and over, this part became kind of easy for me, but you really have to learn how it feels. You kind of have to get a feel for quickly going to where the enemy is, and you have to get a feel for when the 3 Musketeers are going to come out, because, well, when the 3 Musketeers come out, it's actually pretty easy. I'll abuse that to a much funnier degree later. Pressing triangle to hang on to that piece of, you know, railing is such a pain in the ass. I failed it so many times. I just spam that triangle button super hard and just kind of pray to God that the snake actually grabs it. And the reason why you don't have to upgrade your grip level is that if you have a full health bar, your grip lasts longer than if you take damage. So if you took damage before this point, you can't do what I'm doing here because your grip doesn't last long enough. It just runs out much quicker. You know, the game kind of has clever tricks with stamina and whatnot. Here, I'm going to mess up in a really weird way, and I'm just glad this game doesn't count this as a kill. If you like hit an enemy in the nuts and you hit them like close enough to the fence, or they fall over the fence and fall to their death and drown, it doesn't count as your kill. It's like an accident. I love this camera angle. I love this shot. It looks so cinematic. Honestly, one fun thing about playing this on the PS2 is just the 4:3 aspect ratio. It looks really nice. Apparently, the HD remasters, they kind of take away a little bit of the space from the 4:3 aspect ratio. Not enough to the point where, you know, like, the game looks unrecognizable, but there's like a tiny bit of space you lose because they zoom in slightly on the gameplay angles, but it still looks great. This is a pretty commonly known trick to the game, but pretty much like unequipping and equipping your weapon this quickly, the first frame of your walking animation is faster than the rest of the walking animation, so you pretty much crawl faster by doing this. They got rid of this tech in Snake Eater. They basically fixed it, so you can't do it anymore, but in Metal Gear Solid 2, it's fair game. At the very top of this area, there's like this little string that connects from the beginning of the area all the way to the other side of the room, and you can use that, well, to navigate to the other side of the room. Though for my strategies here, that string is meaningless, but I played this game since like 2016, 15, 14. I played the Xbox, no, I think maybe even 2013. Might actually be like all the way back there. I played this game around the time Borderlands 2 came out, but I played it on the HD Collection version because my first exposure to Metal Gear Solid was the Xbox 360 HD Collection version of Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and Peace Walker, and I started with Snake Eater, and then I played 2, and then I played Peace Walker, and then I played 1 when I borrowed my friend's PS3, and it's like a whole story, and okay, that was a really weird frame, like he zoomed in really far here, and here I'm going to show you a piece of tech which you'll never see again, but it's such a cool piece of tech, and I didn't even know this existed until like now. So, like, besides the fact that I didn't know that one, like, you know, wire shortcut existed until now, I also didn't know that you could do this. There's, like, no point to the game. And then there was, like, this documentary released about indie developers, and he was, like, one of the main targets of that documentary. And he's just talking about, like, you know, I did not like positive reviews of the game because I didn't, like it for the same reasons I made it. And, like, one of the main clips they show about that is just Soulja Boy, like, doing his reaction to the game. So, like, the developer of Braid is just, like, sitting in a dark room. He's, like, all, like, somber and, like, you know, melancholic. And you just hear, like, Soulja Boy in the background just, like, talking shit about his game. It's like, I wanted to know the uses for a dolphin dive. And what I found out is that it has limited uses, but there is a few uses for the dolphin dive move, but it's really useful for like glitching into certain places. Now, what places do you glitch into with the dolphin dive? That I don't know. I didn't research it that thoroughly, but you can use the dolphin dive to go into like kind of glitch locations. Also, using the dolphin dive to like kind of dive off the stair, off the like the spawn room stairs has some uses. So you can also get damage that way, but also you can do some cool stuff with that. We got all these big YouTubers, and Machinima goes up to them and is like, hey, sign this contract and we'll pay you to make more videos for us, and you'll be part of our brand, and you'll get more exposure or something, alright? So, like, every big, like, gaming YouTuber thing is kind of under Machinima. You know, Machinima's like a big clout thing, you know. People will put the Machinima intro in their videos without being part of Machinima. They'll put it for weird fetish content, alright? Like, Machinima was the shit back then. However, on a big enough timeline, Machinima started falling off because basically every single creator that subscribed to the Machinima contract was getting fucked. They were getting robbed at gunpoint. Like, the contracts were like screwing them over of checks. They weren't being paid right. Metal Gear Solid has always had kind of a cartoon version of stealth, so like guards being kind of dumb is part of the charm at this point, especially when it comes to experimenting and just improvisation. And look at this guy's outfit. Honestly, you can barely look at their outfit. That really scary sound where it goes, that sound, that's not really, I thought that was like a warning sign that the skulls were about to do something, but no, that's just my chain gun about to burn out. So I learned now that that sound means a chain gun is about to burn out. And now I'm walking and like knocked something over and it like attracted their attention. Like, I mean, I thought I screwed everything up here, but I somehow found a way to like get past it. But like the way I get past it is insane. Like the guard AI is just insanely stupid. Like, I'm gonna try to knock this guy out. How did those other guys on the like over there did not see me? What? I think it might be because of the doggy. Because like they were shooing away the dog. They might have been looking at the dog, but they were familiar that this dude got knocked out. But they don't know I'm there. What? And now I noticed that I didn't have to mess with that place at all because there is a back door right there to kind of slowly make my way through it. And I'm just kind of worried if that guy heard me, but I think because like an alarm state is going off, now they're just going to get off and start scouring the area. Yeah, this is the part where everything kind of goes off the rails. Wow, man. Wow. Here I accidentally alerted the attention of an enemy and something really funny is going to happen. Like, okay, I'm going to try to sneak past him while he's going over there, and I accidentally a little pop up, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's all good. On my very first playthrough of the Phantom Pain, which was like around 90 hours, like, you know, back when it was like shitty frame rate, I never knew how to unlock this dog. Like, you know, pretty much the way you unlock this dog is that you pick him up in like chapter 4, you hear like a little puppy whining, and that's how you pick him up. I never picked him up. I never had access to him. So, like, pretty much when I found out you could pick him up, you know, like, in subsequent replaythroughs and also for this no damage playthrough, I was like, oh my goodness. Because the dog's ability is just so much better than all the other partners, you know? Like, the one thing I need is to be able to spot every single enemy on the map, and the dog does that. None of the other, like, tools give me that ability. So, like, you know, just I spent 90 hours, you know, playing a game which I would have liked better if I had the dog with me. You know what I mean? If I exit the room right now, I don't know where that enemy is. He's right there. Oh my, that's just so lucky. I did not plan this at all, but I'm just really lucky that I walked right where the door blocked the enemy's like field of vision so that he didn't see me. So here I'm just gonna wait the enemy out. That's what I'm saying here. Like, improvisation is like so key to this game if like your plan goes off the rails, but you can still like adapt to that situation just like that. You can just adapt to the situation and overcome it, but it adds a lot more playtime to the game because like when you're improvising like in a very dicey situation, it also means that like, you know, you're going to be sneaking around a lot slower. Like, I'm not adopting speedrun strategies. I didn't exactly look at a speedrun for this video. You send soldiers to do stuff and, you know, sometimes it'll take too long to take out the riot suit guys, or sometimes the riot suit guys will just pop up on the radar again. It's just, that was such a smooth jump by D-Dog. That was insane. Far Cry 4 has this horrible idea where there's like there's a certain enemy type which you just cannot mark, and it's like, what? Like, Far Cry's stealth system is pretty shallow. You do not have the tools to deal with not being able to mark a certain enemy. Like, that is, who thought of that? That is such a stupid, like, backwards idea. I hate it so much. Like whoever designed that was stupid. That was dumb. Don't ever do that again. I have not played Far Cry 5, so I do not know if that enemy type returns, but that is a horrible idea. Don't repeat it. Stupid, bad. So yeah, I think my biggest issue with this giant robot fight is, okay, like, I think my biggest issue, the most tremendous issue I have with this, like, robot boss fight, like, the most giant, absolutely giant issue, is I think this boss fight would be improved, like tenfold if we instead just fight a big quiet, you know, just like a really big quiet, all the same moves, you know, same moveset, but just quiet. I think that would really make the game better. Like, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree?
We both are demons. Our humanity won't return
This is not the shortest mission in the game. There are missions shorter than it, though, to be fair. Like the next... What is this? I think I actually wasted a bit of time here because I waste so much time because I actually call in a truck to come in. Oh no, what I do is that like I call in like a car to come in here, and then while we're waiting for that car to come in, I think I go and collect a flower, or do I? I think I do. These guys, I believe, are shooting at a scarecrow just because I guess they're bored or practicing. Or maybe they're shooting birds or one of the wild dogs. Because I don't know why they're shooting, frankly, but it's a nice way to scare the player. Because like, whoa, why are they shooting? So yeah, if the tranquilizer dart I shot into that one guy took an effect after I knocked out this guy. Very weird. And now the other guy, he's so far away that am I gonna run at him? Yeah, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna do the epic punch. Boom. The one thing that convinced me to actually pick up this game is one of the trailers, like the one that like has Skullface like monologuing. There's this awesome licensed song by, I don't know how to pronounce this name, LG, I don't know, but like that trailer like convinced me to pick up the game. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be the best thing ever. Like I gotta try it. And by this point in like my timeline, I actually don't know if I've played the other Metal Gear Solid games. Like I'm pretty sure I've definitely played 2 and 3. I'm a little unsure if and also Peace Walker. But I'm a little unsure if I've played 1 and 4 because, well, I started off like playing these games on the Xbox 360 and they did not have Metal Gear Solid 1 or Portable Ops. To be fair, the only thing that has Portable Ops is the PSP. So shame on that one. You have to hold like X to like run everywhere. Thankfully, Kenshiro, because he's a superhuman beast, he doesn't have a stamina system like Yakuza 6. But you know, it's just kind of, it's like your speeds are either a slow walk or like the actual run you want. However, the developers did have the right mindset though, because they added like a post-game like edition where you can choose in the menu whether you have to hold X to run or hold X to walk. So I made it that I had to hold X to walk. However, I never knew this in the Japanese release of the game, so I was pretty much having to hold X to run the entire time I was playing the Japanese release. I only recently like learned that you could change that option. So you know, we have Kenshiro here, he's voiced. This game is a little more challenging than most Yakuza just because boss fights deal like a ton of damage. You know what I mean? Like in a normal Yakuza game, like boss fights really don't deal that much damage. Like I don't know, I mean Yakuza 0, okay, Kiwami 1 boss fights could deal some pretty big damage, but like I don't know, for the most part, and Kiwami 2, like they don't deal that much damage. I mean, most boss fights normally won't be able to kill you. Like you won't even need healing items like a lot of the time. However, in this game, like certain boss fights can one-shot you. Like even when you're playing like the game normally and not on canon, like boss fights can like one-shot you. Oh yeah, and on canon they can definitely one-shot you. So anyways, you have your final square, triangle, triangle, which I don't use that one. I don't use like that combo that much just because it's much better just to spam square, because if you keep spamming square over and over and over, you do the 100 fist rushes, like you know how it is. So anyway, here, and some of this stuff could work with boss fights, and there's like some techniques. Oh, like some of the most useful techniques in this game you learn from Toki, which was a boss fight we just fought previously, like Toki Verde, Max Poder, CCC, like that dude gives you teaches you like the most useful techniques in this game. Like what's so painful about the pain is that like, okay, so I don't know, every other fight in this game, like if you fight them normally, it can be pretty challenging, but there's usually some like clever little secret way to beat them, or like, you know, some clever like secret weakness of them, which kind of puts you on a more even playing field. But this guy barely has anything to him, which could be considered like a secret way to approach him. You just kind of have to deal with all this fucking bullshit. Like you have very little cover to move around. It's a little bit more designed like a Metal Gear Solid 2 level, to be honest. Just with like how, I mean, I don't know, it uses a little bit too much verticality to be like a Metal Gear Solid 2 level, but like it's a little bit more tight, you know, guard patterns a little more strict, and without a radar it's a bit challenging. Enemies can kind of spot you from honestly anywhere, so just kind of, I started off, I kind of look over, I take the one guy up on the stairs, and then once I'm in position, I drop down here to take out the guards down here. I don't know, you have to wait for this guy to be there, take him out. You have to be very quick with this too, because like if the guards get into a position where like they move from there, it can kind of complicate things and they'll see you. And then there's a fourth guy, the final guy, all the way up there. so that I'm gonna take him out with the tranquilizer. But if I miss my shot, it's gonna complicate everything. So now I have to rush through because like the guys that just knocked out, they're not gonna stay knocked down for long. They have stars on their head. They're gonna wake up soon.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Here is the second Bogan fight, and it's pretty simple. Just like pretty much keep shooting the treads to stun him, and then once he's like stunned from the treads, you then, I don't know, sometimes I shoot the treads and like nothing happens, and I don't know why that is. He just bounces. Why? What's the point of that? I'm shooting the treads. He should be stunned. Like, am I not supposed to shoot the treads? Like, just a weird inconsistency there. And then here I'm gonna aim at the head with a non-lethal sniper rifle and get him there. Keeping up, like, trying to beat this entire game in 25 saves wasn't too bad, though I guess a few more saves would have been nice. I mean, the 80 from like the first Metal Gear Solid and like the Twin Snakes. So to be fair, with the very first Metal Gear Solid game, I did not do the Big Boss on that, but I did do Big Boss in the Twin Snakes. So, and those 80 saves sure came in handy. I didn't use 80 saves, but I used a lot more than 25. Well, quite a bit more than 25. Though, I mean, even like the 25 saves here is a lot more compared to the 8 saves you had in Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, Metal Gear Solid 2 probably has the hardest, like, Big Boss rank to get. Just because, like, 8 saves for that entire game? Are you kidding me? Like, oh my goodness. Like, I mean, some of those, there's like 8 boss fights, but there's more than 8 boss fights, and then there's certain encounters you're definitely going to want to save for, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
How can you say goodbye, my love, when we haven't even said hello? I see your face, I feel your sadness, I feel your pain inside of me.
Oh man, it's kind of a crime that I stopped the song, but can't let this video run on too long. We're on a time limit here.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
And now here is where the fixed camera angles have like their biggest advantage, because if you play this with just 3D camera angles, this whole sequence is gonna look so like, whatever. But with the fixed camera angles, there's all these like deliberate like moments and like cool stuff. Look at that. It's like, look at these angles, look at the cuts, look at that. Like, it's a movie. Like, Kojima really wants to make a movie, and he's doing it right now. He's doing it. So this little climax here was like the little rail shooter section. It's pretty cool, though I don't think I like it more than like the climax of Metal Gear Solid 2 with like, just everything falling apart, like you going full ninja mode. Like this, I don't really like it as much. And I mean, there's like other reasons I don't like it as much, but it is still a pretty good like climax to the game. Nice build up, nice little action set piece, which takes advantage of the fact that moving and shooting at the same time isn't exactly this game's strongest suit. So instead, you're kind of put into a railgun position. So here I'm going to take this guy out, and then he woke up that guy, but now I have to take this guy out, and I don't know what I was doing there. I got really lucky. And now, like, since they're stunned and not like tranquilized, I have to rush through here really quickly, and I don't really want to tranquilize them because I don't have that much tranquilizer ammo. So here I'm going to try to crawl quickly through the area. Crawl quickly. Yeah. Well, I'll see how that turns out. This HD collection is probably the best way to play the game, though there's a few disadvantages. One, it's missing a lot of content from the original release. So in the original Snake Eater, I don't know, when you get tortured, after you get tortured, Snake will have a dream where he plays this hack and slash game. And they completely removed this in like the HD collection. I'm actually a little unsure if they removed this in Subsistence or something, and like, now they just copy Subsistence. But yeah, it's gone now, and that sucks. Another thing that's missing is that Snake Eater had like this bonus stuff. I forget if this is Snake Eater or Subsistence, but they had this little like bonus thing where you could play a bunch of missions like this, like kind of centered around like Ape Escape, those games. So you're just hanging around with these apes doing stealth missions with them. And now that's just completely gone here. So I'm assuming like those Ape Escape missions are kind of like a version of the VR missions in Metal Gear Solid 2, and now we just don't have those in the HD collection. So honestly, if they're gonna like redo the port of this, they might as well bring those over. But I guess for some reason they can't, because if they didn't do it with this like HD collection, then they're not going to do it for PS4, and especially with the new complications with Kojima and Konami. And to be fair, I mean, that's like what I'm saying is very optimistic, like as if they would even do another re-release of this like collection. Like this just, I don't think it's happening. So yeah.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
So when he does that big like bullet attack, he'll do a little like jump back after he's done with it. Attack him after he does the jump back, because if you try to CQC him immediately, he's just gonna jump back and you're not gonna do any CQC to him. You're not gonna do any CQC to him, and he's just gonna counter you. And then like now the mushrooms are really useful, because now when he does like those big electricity attacks, which you can bait out with the pistol, he shoots 2 like darts. He shoots like 2 lightning rods at you, and that complicates things a lot. There is a way to deal with it without using the mushrooms, but the mushrooms make it a lot more palatable. And then after that, he's going to spend most of the fight in kind of a melee phase, and this time he does have really good openings during his melee phase. Like there's that one big like huge bullet punch he does, which like is really useful to bait out. Like I don't know if he's going to do it again, but
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
like this final like room is a lot more of a challenge and more of like a fitting stealth finale if you don't use the maintenance outfit. But here we are, I'm using the maintenance outfit, so like whatever. Like yeah, I guess Snake Eater's like, since a lot of things are so optional, like maybe doing that optional stuff can add to a little more challenge and maybe a little more stealth enjoyment. You know, you can get a lot more mileage out of this game if you like, I don't know, play it a certain way. But to be fair, I don't know, saying that you played a game wrong isn't exactly very like good criticism, because I don't know, sometimes the reason some people play a game wrong is because the way the game is designed or teaches you how to play the game doesn't really lead you to like make the kind of decisions to like play it in a fun way. So it's just kind of like, like even if you played it wrong, it's not always your fault in that point, like in that sort of way, but sometimes it is. And you just suck at games, bro.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the little bell for future notifications on future projects.
Hide behind this tank. There are 2 enemies over here, and we're gonna wait for one of them, for well, pretty much both of them to turn around, but one of them's gonna turn around quicker than like the other one. So like the top one, I believe they are going to turn around, or okay, there we go. They turned around. Cool. And now we're gonna wait for this guy to turn around. Then we're gonna approach him. We're going to do some CQC. However, since you're naked, you can't do the instant takedown. So instead, we're doing this combo. And hell, even your combo's been modified to be more useful. So yeah, pretty much just 2 of those, and that knocks him out. Just make sure that you land 6 hits, because it takes 6 hits to knock him down. Now wait for like that third guy here to kind of be looking away from you and run straight through this path. And I'm gonna adopt a fixed camera angle because it's gonna be pretty easy from here on out. There's a 4th guard here. We're gonna knock him out with CQC again. Boom. 6 shots, and by 6 shots I mean like 6 little hits, and now we'll knock them out. So anyways, here is probably one of the most memorable moments in Snake Eater, where it's just you climbing a ladder, and like the theme Snake Eater plays an amazing theme, but like only the vocals, and it's kind of like this great moment where you like reflect on everything that's happened like before like the game. You reflect on the whole like journey, just because like it's such an evocative image of like the whole, like, you know, ascending this long ass staircase and the big hole down there. So to replicate that, I'm going to stop talking so you can reflect on the commentary I've provided up to this point. And look at this ridiculous shit. So he just stands right on top of me. I'm like right below his balls, and he doesn't see me, bro. I guess my camel index is too powerful. Like I guess see like his foot hitboxes were like right next to my head, but not on my head. What was that? What was that? I don't know. I guess Snake Eater the GOAT game. That's it. Snake Eater GOAT. It's what it is. So yeah, here I'm gonna wait for that one guy way off in the corner to turn around, and here I'm gonna switch to the fixed camera angle just because I think it looks cool. So yeah, the fixed camera angle, like it can be hard to tell where things are. However, the advantage is it looks cool and like all cinematic and stuff. Like look at that, like Snake's like the little ant in like the whole system and all that. And also another advantage of the fixed camera angle is that you can kind of look around the area better sometimes, because now like the 3D camera is not exactly perfect. It's a little too close to Snake, so sometimes you don't get a full like view of your surroundings. So sometimes you'll use the fixed camera angle to kind of spot other enemies which are a little farther off in the area if like the camera's positioned well. Grab them and then throw them down and hold them up. Freeze. Oh, I think this might actually be the first time I'm doing this technique. Like, wait, is it the first time I'm doing the whole hold up technique? I actually forget. But yeah, this is the first time I did the hold up. Is it though? But yeah, I'm doing the hold up technique, and it kind of keeps them, well, there longer than if I just knocked them out. I actually forget if I did the hold up technique before in this video. I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna assume that I did. But yeah, you can hold enemies up and they'll stay down for longer. Oh yeah,
some snakes are going to drop from the ground, and you can pretty much avoid them by running away from them. But there's going to be very specific, very annoying sections of this game where a snake will be positioned in such a way where if you just mindlessly run away from them, they're going to jump you. It's like a COD camper. They're just waiting to just... And it's terrible. That is a camera angle that is never going to show up again. That low POV, it only shows up when you enter the house and never again. That whole little psychological horror. Ooh, this game can get psychological too, but in a more sciencey way. Ooh, ah. I do own Silent Hill 2 and 3 on PC, which, mind you, at this point you don't necessarily have to own them. You might as well just pirate them and crack them and mod them so that they can actually run good on PC. Which, mind you do need to kind of crack them around. Silent Hill 2 especially isn't a very good PC port. You kind of have to fuck around with it to make it an actual good PC port. And that's probably the only way I'm going to play them, because playing the original PS2 games is kind of impossible. Because when I bought Silent Hill 2, it was like $40 back in like, what, 2014, 15, 16. But now they're 100. Now it's fucking 140. I hate fucking like the old game market. They fucking scalp the shit out of everything. You pretty much have to enter this room, you collect an item, and then you wait a bit or try to like walk around this door to summon a zombie into this room. Ah! There's a zombie, see? Ooh, scary, scary. And the reason you want to summon the zombie in this room is that you pretty much put him down with a recovery item, because if you don't summon this zombie into this room or wait for him to enter this room, he's going to be in this room. We're never going to enter that bathroom again, but we will be entering that room a couple more times. The bee. I have never been stung by a bee or a wasp in my life, and I do kind of want to stick to that goal until, like, you know, I die. I never want to go through that experience, okay? Like, some people pay to be stung by bullet bees or bullet ants. I don't want to do that. I'd rather live my life not doing that. I don't know what could happen that would change that fact, but, like, okay, I'm not Ant-Man. I don't have to go through that procedure. This is a very bad camping spot, by the way. I thought it would be a funny place to camp out because, well, I've already reached like my point requirements, so I mean, I just need to not get damaged. Honestly, running around the map could be a good way to do that. So sometimes, oh, my throat hurts from talking so much. Oh my goodness, I don't even have a cold. Though, to be fair, I'm in Chicago. There was like a snowstorm or something. It was insane. Yeah, this is a very bad camping spot because enemies can actually spawn in or follow you in on the right. So here I'm gonna do like a quick little check here. Like, is there anyone to my right of me? No one on the left. No, look at that guy. He's right in front of me. If this enemy was more aggressive, I mean, this would be ruined. You know, like, I mean, I already reached my score requirement. It's only like a minute away, and it would have been ruined because of like negligence. Because like, that's a very bad place to camp. So don't camp there. Camp in the barn up here. Though, to be fair, it was kind of nice that I camped up there because, you know, it made the video a little bit more exciting, but it's just kind of like, it's a bad place to camp. Well, the great thing about Wesker is, there's a lot of great things about Wesker. For one, this gun, like, it just has an insane crit, like, headshot crit damage. Like, most of the time you get a headshot, it's going to be a one-hit kill, and also this move is a one-hit kill. Like, both of his melee attacks are one-hit kills. Boom! That big ass punch. And also, like, the other great thing is, like, the move he does when, like, you shoot an enemy's knees is also great, because like he just like freaking like heel kicks like someone. I don't know what the move is called, but like an axe kick. He does an axe kick and it just immediately explodes their head. I love that. This game is not being played on the PS5. It is being played on the Nintendo Wii. And if you're wondering why the graphics kind of look like ass, it's because I applied a post-processing filter where I'm recording this game using a RetroTink 5X, which is this like upscaling device for like old consoles, you know, like PS1, Saturn, SNES, like honestly anything really, if it needs upscaling. I upscaled the game to 1080p, and then one of the features is something called post-processing, where it pretty much, you can like apply an effect that makes it look like it's still on an SRT TV. Okay, I don't know. It gives it scan lines. I have multiple like different presets for scan lines, and I chose this like preset called like A.Grilly. And I have no idea what it does, but I thought chapters 1 and 2 I was able to do in a single day, you know, like 6 sub chapters. But now we get to like chapters 3 and 4, and like this is chapter 4/2. This one alone took me nearly the whole day, like 5, 6, 7 hours to get right, just because I was like struggling with like the giant dudes and this section so much. Like, what I'm saying is, just replace one of the giant dudes with Ashley, and it would improve the game immensely, and replace the bugs with no bugs, because I fucking hate the bugs. Oh, that was a swear word. This is a mature game. Wait, do they ever say the F word in Resident Evil 4? I don't know. They're a little too classy for that. I think they say no. Do they even say ass? They say butt.
They mentioned butt at one point. You'll know what I'm talking about when we get there. But I'm just going to break this entire building down to escape. And this does not work most of the time. But, oh, look at that. Oh, so lucky. Like, my goodness. You do not get that sort of luck. Like, you never get that sort of luck. And it just worked. There is a way to get the chainsaw guy down whenever he climbs up with a shotgun. But it's really finicky. And I don't know exactly how it works. Because here, it doesn't work. Here I'm gonna get like the luckiest, wait, what? It did work. What the fuck? Am I even playing this game? Or is this someone else's footage? I just cannot read this right, my goodness. Because everyone talks like they don't know that they're like on planet Earth, whenever anyone actually talks like a normal human being, it's kind of like terrifying. You know, it just cuts through the fog immediately and it just gives like a great impression, you know? Especially when the characters start learning the truth of their situation and just like starting to piece things together and just like the way all that develops near the end. That's like one of the reasons I don't with the hard difficulty in this game. I mean, once again, hallways get packed with so many enemies. It's like a CTA red line train in Chicago. This section fucking sucks dick on hard. Bumping into walls gets a little bit annoying. I mean, I don't hate that too much, but then again, it does make normal like more, it makes it easier. And the majority of the boss fights do become more bullet spongy, but that doesn't really become an issue until like the final two boss fights. They're the ones that suffer the most from the increase in health, like, you know, with all the boss fights. All the other boss fights don't really have that much health in comparison to the final two boss fights. They take forever if you're fighting them by normal means. Just holy moly, dude. So yeah, a lot of the designs in this game, I don't know if like this is true of the other games, but for this game in particular, I mean, in that documentary, he mentioned that he was inspired by the Irish painter Francis Bacon, and I'm not too familiar with him, but the images I saw from the documentary and like a lot of the art I saw from just a quick Google search, it's very like grisly stuff, very like distorted, monstrous like people and just like objects. I can very much see the influence from that in this game and the rest of the franchise. Do you remember how cool it was that in the original Silent Hill 2, you couldn't just point to like one of the actors and go, hey, I know that, you know, I know that guy. You can't just say James' voice is like, oh, I know that actor, that's famous guy. Well, with the new voices, what's up, Troy Baker? Yeah, I see you, you handsome devil. Get out of here. Get out of here now. Get out of Silent Hill. Get out. And suddenly, yeah, I see you, Yuri Lowenthal, you motherfucker! Ah, Spider-Man! So there was like a direct line in the documentary that one of the imperfections that Maria has is that she kind of flaunts her tummy with a little bit of flab, which I don't know, dude. She's like a little too. I didn't even notice. I wouldn't even think to notice that. Like just like I don't know. I feel like I'm being like too picky to say, oh, she got a bit of flab on her. Like she's pretty skinny in this game. But okay, the first perplexity of criticism is that it must speak monosemantically of the polysemous. And yeah, that little quote from the foreword of the 1993 like translation of the book Crime and Punishment, that quote just confuses the fuck out of me, dude. Because like there were just certain words where it's like, what the fuck does like polysemous mean? That's not a real word. You made that up. What's wrong with you? But anyways, I looked up what that means. And it made me like so like, you know, upset and tilted that actually like I rewrote what this quote was saying in a language that just makes me understand it better. So here's how I rewrote that quote to be more understandable to a modern audience. Anyways, here's what the quote is trying to say. Basically, in my own words, it's hard for critics to analyze the book as one definitive idea when so many of the ideas are open-ended and hardly definitive. Like, does that make more sense than the previous thing? Like, I'm not using fucked up words like polysemous. I mean, you know, if you understand the English language, you see poly. Ooh, poly is multiple things. So you can kind of understand what they're saying. Or, ooh, mono is one thing. You know, mono sound. That's like not dual sound. That's not stereo. But still, I think, I fucking hate that word. So that's sex and death. Thinking about sex and death deeply. This theme is very much a main priority in the making of Silent Hill 2. And it is very much a theme in Lost Highway, and it is very much a theme in Crime and Punishment. Do you know how long I've been waiting to segue to talking about Lost Highway or Crime and Punishment? I thought I was going to talk about this in the first 20 or 30 minutes. No, I'm an hour and 12. Oh, this game is so fast-paced, which is honestly just really good. Like, you know, it's just the levels aren't like, don't take forever. There's not like any long tutorials, you know. It's an old-fashioned game, you know, like you just get into the shit very quickly. Because I mean, Silent Hill 2 is also a game where you don't get into the shit quickly compared to the other ones, but you still do relatively get into the shit pretty quickly compared to like most modern games. But maybe like boom, 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 boom.
What? What the fuck?
This is the T-puzzle right now. Holy shit, dude. This thing is fucking obtuse. Like, the clues for it are fucking bullshit. It just amounts to, they made a T shape, but there's only 4 buttons. What? And you just have to fucking, like, kind of fuck around with it until you get it right. When I was, like, replaying this game recently, like, on my walkthrough section, like, go to, like, my Silent Hill 2 walkthrough part 3, minute 50, you'll understand how frustrated I was. It was, like, fucking, I spent, like, 10 to, like, 20 minutes just stuck on this one exact puzzle, and I just kept fucking around with it. And even when I solved it, I didn't feel, like, accomplished, because it was fucking bullshit. One very particular thing about Lost Highway is that at the time, like, the very first time I wanted to watch Highway for the first time, it was on 0 streaming services, but someone did upload the entire movie on YouTube for free, you know? That's pretty cool, right? There's just one problem. The quality is so ass! And what makes this even worse is that Lost Highway is probably David Lynch's best looking movie! The lighting and cinematography is gorgeous! Peter Demon does terrific work on this production! Fuck, the editing is amazing too! I fucking love the fade-ins! A lot of the scenes are so perfectly timed and framed. Shout out to Mary Sidney, she did an amazing job on this one. And I had the chance to meet her because she was going to a screening of the film at Chicago Music Box Theater. But I fucking missed it. Even forgot why I missed it. The point is, I had to buy a Blu-ray and wait 2 days for it to arrive to see the movie in 1080p quality. And a month later, a 4K Criterion Blu-ray dropped and made me feel like a bozo. Watch Lost Highway at a good fucking quality, or so Lord help you, your experience will be diminished. And you better not see it on your fucking telephone, I'll kill you, motherfucker! Oh. There's the censored enemy. Well, not censored per se, but that's the enemy that they replaced the demon children with in the school of the Japanese release. I don't think it applies to the European release. By the way, those fucking, I think they're called tumblers or something. They have a habit of just teleporting. There he is, fucking there, just blocking the entire... These things are so much more fat than, like, the school children, so, like, fucking... They take up a lot of space. That probably makes them more annoying to run past, or, like, shoot past or something, but yeah. Watch out, like, either one of them could teleport in front of you at that point, or 2 of them could teleport right in front of you, because I'm pretty sure... Man, I love the convenience store. Like, it's got a great vibe. I really love those type of, like, little save room areas. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that one out, but you're never going to see it in this video because there's never a reason to go. There's never a reason to go to it if you're just no damaging your speedrun in the game, sadly. That one hallway in the Hell School with the one demon child and the 2 cockroaches is hell! I was about to vomit there. My goodness, the little hiccups are crazy. And the fucking cockroaches can respawn even if you kill them all. Or the demon child. They're assholes. I really should not do the grumbly voice because it just activates, like, my hiccuping, like, symptoms. Let people be confused because, like, oh, I hate these monkeys. Ah, monkey. Ah. And also the police station on my fresh playthrough I done recently. I didn't know you could enter it because I tried to enter through there and it was locked and I was kind of like, well, I guess I can't enter there. But no, if you go to the side of the building and enter it through a door which looks exactly the same, then you can enter it. I didn't know that. What the fuck? The school is easily the hardest level in the game by far to no damage. Honestly, if you're not no damaging, maybe this level isn't the hardest per se, but, like, it's easily the most overwhelming, and it's purely because of those demon children. I hate them so much. There's just a cockroach on top of, like, one of the tables here. Let's see if I run into him. Where am I going? I'm kind of lost in this. Like, Let's see, the cockroach is, like, getting off the table. Man, I hate that. Oh, I love that. I love it, but I hate it. Oh my goodness. I had Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, Portable Ops, Peace Walker, Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, because they came with Snake Eater, just like that port of, like, the second and third game on the PS Vita was something else, and I got so much mileage out of it. I platinumed Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the PS Vita version specifically, and wow, I would not recommend that for Metal Gear Solid 2. The VR mission, achievement, is absurd. Running up here, we're gonna run with the light off because with the light off, the flying bird demon, it makes it harder for the bird demon to hit you. But I've had many instances where I had the light turned off, and the bird still hones in on me and clips me. Well, it hits me. So even having the light turned off is not a complete safety net, but it should help generally. But generally means you still need to be on guard, that the bird might come in and just scratch the fuck out of you, because that's what birds do. Hawks in real life do that. So what can a nightmare do? Nightmare bird do? More. It can do more. There is a sort of chase sequence in this game that like drove me mad. I hate those like monkey enemies because like they're faster than you. Like, I mean, if you just run in a straight line away from them, you're gonna lose every single time because like their jumping attack is like so far. And even trying to like duke them out by trying to break their ankles, you know, going left, right, they're kind of good at following you anyways. I mean, like on my fresh playthrough, I had the biggest trouble with them. On my no damage, not so much, but they're still incredibly aggravating enemies. Like, man, they do not play fair in this unnatural human way. And here I'm using Silent Hill 1's famous dodge step. This thing doesn't come back in the rest of the series because there's just not much to it. Like, a lot of the time, it's pretty useless, but you can use it in these kind of niche situations. You have to avoid doing the stutter step. What is that? It's kind of like when you stop moving and continue holding down the sprint button, you kind of go like, whoa! You kind of like do a couple steps, and it just makes you slower at aiming the gun and shooting the creature. So instead of doing that, I think you should let go of the sprint and continue moving just to be able to raise your gun faster. Now that I can't crawl, you see, if I go at him from the left, there's actually another sniper looking straight at him, and he's just going to look at you and he's going to catch you. So instead of doing that, I have to do this strategy where I distract him, I get him off his post, and he's going to climb up there. When he climbs up there, I climb behind him, and then I get what I want to get. And yeah, I guess this mission you can't ghost it because you do have to touch this guy to get an ID thing. And I brought the Sonic guy with me, but for this like no damage run, this ghost run, I want to avoid using stuff like say the Soliton radar, because my original video I made it too easy by using the Soliton radar too much. One of the most fun things about doing a ghost run is just how quiet the game is. You know, like the music never ramps up because you're never doing anything to ramp up the intensity. You're ghosting, you're going past enemies, you're not like knocking them to the ground. So it's a pretty quiet game. And I get to take in the atmosphere a bit more, and I really appreciate that. One of the things which makes these enemies the dumbest in the series possible is their sightlines. Their sightlines are so short. Like, they do still have some of the stuff from like Metal Gear Solid 2, you know, like if you're slightly in front of their blue cone of vision, they'll become curious. They'll be like, huh, what's that? But you have to be really close to the blue cone of vision for that to activate. But their blue cone is smaller than most of the other games. And I guess another thing which kind of like accelerates this easiness is that there is no difficulty select. There's like the one standard difficulty across the entire game, and the only thing that gets harder is if you do harder missions. This level, if you play it normally, piss easy, you beat it in under a minute. But if you want to rescue every prisoner and ghost a level and do an Assassin's Creed, you know, like jump leap of faith for no reason because it's actually easier to just roll off the building instead of doing leap of faith. If you want to do all that, this level becomes a lot more interesting, and I've grown a much bigger appreciation for it because before I'm like, wow, this level has a lot of cool level design. You know, there's like rooftops you can go into, there's an Assassin's Creed thing you can do, there's multiple enemies. But I was sad that none of that mattered because I could just run to the left and pretty much skip all of it. But now that I have to do these other objectives like the prisoner, and also I can't snipe anyone, I have to do ghosting, this level became so much more interesting because like it's just so tightly packed with interesting stealth challenges in like every little corner. It's a small area, but it just feels like so well intentioned with like, you know, back-to-back like stealth moments. If you have the battle suit, why not have 3 weapons? I'll tell you why you don't have 3 weapons, because whenever you call for extra supplies when you have 3 weapons, you sometimes only get ammo for 2 of those weapons, and it kind of like fluctuates and it's random, and I don't like it. I kind of wish that like every time I call the supply drop, when I have 3 weapons, I get ammo for those 3 weapons instead of just 2 weapons, because now it's like, I might as well just only brought 2 weapons if you're going to do this to me. I might as well not even wear the battle suit. Might as well just be in my underwear at this point. The QTEs are bullshit. This fucking sucks. I can't fucking stand these QTEs, man. Oh my goodness. And also, I don't even want the reward at the end of these QTEs. If you successfully do every single one of these QTEs, you get an ID card for the prison escape mission, which like automatically gets you out of your cell. And if you don't get that ID card, you instead have to use a jigsaw to like slowly cut the door open. But you know what? I like slowly cutting the door open. It's interesting. It takes more time, and like my strategy is more challenging, and I appreciate the challenge. I don't want to just quickly go out the door. Like, it's like, you know, if you're leaving a hotel, you fucking check in at the front desk. You don't just fucking leave. You know? So yeah, fuck these QTEs. If you fail any of these, you have to do the whole mission again. And once again, this mission is really challenging, and I like the challenge, but I don't like that the challenge and like the challenge of getting the S ranks gets invalidated if you don't do this fucking bullshit. So what I want to do here is actually want to take out 3 of these guys, not all 4, because if I take out all 4, it's gonna take way too long, and then I'm not gonna be able to hide behind this cover as effectively. And there comes a point where you kind of have to be aware where they're gonna spawn in from, because they could either spawn in from the other side of the map, and you're blocked. You're like, safe behind that part of the cover, or they could spawn in from there, and instead you have to hide here, and I just kind of had an instinct for it. I had a second instinct because it happened to me so many times. You're basically hidden forever, and boom! And I learned this very recently, that like in this area, if you look all the way up to the ceiling, there's like this like glass, this like fucking, when you go to basketball games and you get to go to like a nice little room and it's like transparent glass, you have a TV, that's where Huey is. You can actually see like a really low res like standee of Huey, and if you shoot near that glass, if you shoot at the glass dome, Huey like sends you like a message like, hey, stop that. I never do that. I never want to play as another character, but I'm sure there's like other characters in this game which have advantages. Maybe there could be a character that runs faster, has more health, can spot enemies on the map. There's certainly like soldiers you can like recruit for your combat unit, which has an ability where when you open the map, they can see where all the prisoners are placed or where all the enemies are placed. So that's important. I never did that though, because I never want to play as a random soldier. I want to play as Snake. Not Solid Snake, Big Boss. Naked Snake. I don't think people call him Naked Snake anymore. They call him John. Really insane fast strategies. Like right now, I'm going to try to go with the love box as fast as possible to take a shortcut. I need to take this shortcut as fast as possible in order to like, bypass a certain enemy. And I'm going to use the standing invisible tech by Duran Duran. And also going here, there's a prisoner which you have to rescue. But you have to be really, really quick about this, because if you're off by 1 second, this guy's already going to be turning around. So there's not enough space to go by on his left, but he turns on his right, so you would have to go through the left, but instead you'd stand diagonally, and he doesn't see you because he has horse blinders on, because he's part horse. That human being is not a human being. It's an animal. You want to position in such a way where when the enemies drop by, you're like right behind them, but you're not like right behind them so much, because if you get too close to the enemy, your love box disappears because they jump down and they pretty much like destroy it. So the positioning has to be really exact. I kind of like, I put the camera down, I see like the leaf, I like to get like a little bit halfway past the leaf, or like just halfway through the leaf, and I just kind of stay there. And that's the position I take with the love box, but it can be tough. And it can also be tough to just, the timing for holding up the enemies can be tough, because you can't just have the weapon out and like, it does it automatically. It's a specific timing to hold it out when the enemies, like in like position to get stunned, or they're not busy doing another animation. So this is a strategy that's very, very easy to mess up. Players can ignore like some of those extra things like crawling and carrying bodies and be just fine. And so while I was recording this boss fight, my PS Vita actually ran out of battery. So I went back, I charged it up, and then I plugged it back in to keep recording. And like despite the fact that it ran out of battery, it kept where I was like exactly the same. And I decided to include that in the video because it made me laugh, and I didn't want to do this boss fight again because it was a big pain in the ass. And this attempt is good. It's a good attempt, but my PS Vita ran out of battery while I was doing it. I was fighting it on low battery. Never fight a boss fight on low battery. I actually break that rule multiple times, and I mostly suffer for it, but there's one time where I do it where I got lucky enough that my PS Vita didn't die on me while I was doing that boss fight, because I beat the boss fight like decently quickly. But what I'm trying to do here is I go to the left, I wait for that one enemy to come near me, then I hold them up, and then I run all the way here when they're not looking at me, and I'm going to wait for all these enemies to be like kind of placed in the exact like domino formation for me to just hold them up one by one by one. Like I wait for that enemy to turn around, and boom, I go in and I go freeze, freeze, freeze. In one of my previous Metal Gear Solid videos, I think it was my original Metal Gear Solid 2 No Damage or 3, I said that there's no way Peace Walker could be that perverted because it's on the PSP. They don't have much to work with. I was wrong. In this Cecile cutscene, if you zoom in on her boobs, they go I was really wrong, and I mentioned this 4 years ago in my original Peace Walker video, but I think it's a point worth repeating that this hardware does not stop them. It does not stop them from doing weird shit. So, keep that in mind. This area is really cool. I love the way how you can hang up upstairs, but it's so underpopulated with enemies that there's like no threat whatsoever. Like this sort of area in Metal Gear Solid 2 would be a nightmare to navigate because like on the hardest difficulty, the enemy sight lines would be so like far seeing that just like stepping like the wrong way in this room or standing in the entrance for too long, an enemy's gonna ambush your position. But here, I'm like walking across huge like, you know, slabs of the area and the enemies barely notice me. They simplified the holdups, crawling and carrying bodies, and I just gotta say that any stealth game that removes the ability to move bodies is shooting itself in the foot. Splinter Cell Conviction shot itself in the foot. There's no reason that you can't move bodies, and the reason that Conviction also did it is because the only way you could play that game is lethally. There was no non-lethal play, despite the fact that, like, you know, you could do it by, you know, say, ghosting, you could do it by, you know, doing non-lethal takedowns, but Conviction just said, no, you're gonna kill everyone because I guess it's cool. But you can kind of just do the same strategy again, except there's going to be a slight difference this time. And it's that there's going to be an enemy all the way at the very entrance that you kind of have to watch out for. But beyond that, it's the same. You kind of go past that one guy, you go past this guy, and then the next guy you need to go past. Okay, I don't think it's this guy. Maybe it is this guy. Maybe it's not this guy. Another thing the love box can do is that if you get too close to this helicopter, you get stunned. But if you have the love box equipped, you don't get stunned. You pretty much just power through it. Look at that. I can't do this normally because Snake will get, like, you know, stunned. But if you run in with the love box, you don't get stunned, and that's just so nice. I do not like the fact that this enemy got, like, you know, picked up by that guy. So yeah, I am kind of breaking my ghosting rules for this run, but like this run, it's really important to be fast, and if you ghost it, you're not going to be fast enough for the S rank. So I'm going to go sneaky, but I'm going to go foolish. Going for the ghost run, I think, really activates like the great stealth pacing of this game, because an issue with some of the other Metal Gear Solids have is that the second half, they let go of their stealth gameplay and go for action set pieces, while here, this game is a lot more consistent about the stealth buildup. Like, this game has a 5-chapter structure, and the first 4 chapters do a really nice thing where, with its sneaking missions, like, you know, chapter 1, it starts off with maybe some of the more easier stuff. Actually, the beginning of chapter 1, it's actually some of the harder stealth missions compared to the beginning of chapter 2, 3, and 4, but it's easier than the stuff that comes afterwards. Like this one requires a little bit of know-how if you want to ghost it. So you kind of take this path, there's a guy there. I guess I'm going to take it slow so he doesn't hear me. And I think we're just going to go around the right, and that should be good. And then, like, the final area is, like, you know, probably one of the easiest because it's a bunch of soldiers, like yeah, you're just kind of, like, moving around in a normal way that the rest of the enemies do. While here, it's like a weird puzzle where, you know, you have to, like, take the right path to avoid the sights. You can still avoid damage. So when it comes to whenever you're firing bullets, you just kind of have to, like, keep running and not stop your momentum. I say that and I stop my momentum right now, kind of proving that, no, sometimes you can stop your momentum, it'll be just fine, but the general rule is you have to keep running in the same direction. If you change directions randomly, the bullets get you. And also, if the bullets curve a weird way, around a weird angle, the bullets can get you. And also, I'm going to do this love box strategy where I just stand right behind the enemy and I get to hold them up like this. And I get to do this to enemies who I want to Fulton because, well, once they're on the ground, I can't throw them off. Unless I do, like, some complicated stuff where, you know, where, like, I, you know, put them to sleep and wake them up and then grab them and then throw them again. Like, we're not going to do all that. These will be the enemies I, you know, kind of put some balloons on. But then the rest of these enemies I really do have to, like, throw off the cliff. The stuff I do here can kind of be dense, and if I don't densely talk about it, I'm worried that you, the viewer, are going to be confused on how to do it, but I really hope my visuals can be self-explanatory because I am bound to miss stuff as I'm bouncing from topic to topic, because I also want to shout out the official flow for PS Vita hacks. Dodging the machine gun fire of the Chrysalis is such a pain in the ass, especially if you don't use your cover correctly, or if, like, if one little bullet slips by. Like, you really do have to use your cover, like, in a really nice way, or you're gonna get. And I hope that what you're seeing in the video is, like, self-explanatory enough for how to get past it. What I don't like about using the chaff grenade is that it makes the boss fight, it makes, like, all the robot boss fights, like, wiggle around like little worms, and when they're wiggling around, it's hard to land a shot on their big weak point because they're just wiggling it around all the time. I wish they were just, like, stationary, but whatever. They wanted to show off that the thing was suffering. The thing. I did this mission stealthily without using smoke grenades, you know, like ambushing the enemies, but you're never gonna be fast enough to get them. So here's a great thing you can do in this mission. You can throw them off the cliff and it won't count as your kill. So if you want to save on Fultoning the enemies, you can do this. You also need to be aware when these guys are going to turn around in weird ways, because they can, there's like stop still do, and they'll like readjust their position to be more defensive. And there, I ran too fast, and when I was running too fast, he turned around, but I somehow held him up before he was able to react and, you know, get alerted. Up the challenge, and upping the challenge, you know, really like made me do stuff here. So like, I want to go up, I have to rescue that prisoner behind here. I have to go up these stairs before those two guards are staring at me, because if you're like in the middle of the stairs and the guard is staring in your direction, they can actually see through the stairs and see you. And then when that guard climbs these stairs, we're going to go up these stairs, and then that guard's going to go to this position, and we're going to get behind him, and he's going to turn around at some point. When he turns around, we're going to get down here, and we're going to crouch walk onto this point here. And there's a guard down there who can kind of catch sight of you. And what I like to do is pretty much just kind of like stay here. And I think at some point I lay flat, or I just kind of stay here and I don't go any further, because if I go any further, one of those guards is actually going to catch sight of me. And I have to get to that elevator. There's an elevator, which this is being protected by this guard. And once that guard turns around, there's going to be another guard. Okay, so here I lie like prone to hide myself from that guy behind me. So like this hangar, when I played it in my old video, so I think I'm just camping out here and eliminating all 5 of these things. And this is such a close moment. This guy came right next to me, and like, oh man, see, like, coming here puts you at way bigger risk, but also creates like more interesting gameplay like that. Weapons. That's in my top 5 of 2025's films of the year. It's a great film. Y'all gotta check it out. But at the end of every mission, when you're getting ranked, they also shows every single weapon you use throughout the mission. So if you want to know like what equipment I was using and what level that equipment was, you can see it in the menu. And that's another thing that the mission structure of Peace Walker just makes it so replayable. And I love just how flexible inventory management is. You can select to go with really underpowered stuff. You can go with overpowered stuff. You can go in with nothing. So yeah, pretty much just kind of rush all the way here, and then this guy is going to turn to the right. And I know this because I've played this so many times that I know he's going to turn to the right, so I can kind of slip by him exactly at that point, and that's how we do this mission. Isn't this supposed to be a cool guy in Greek mythology, Theseus? I don't know too much about him, but like, you know, he has a cool weapon. The first phase kind of sets him up coolly, and then you just kind of get to this section, and he's a complete bitch. Like, the most aggravating bitch in the game by far. I mean, hey, in the first 2 games, you know, they're a lot more colorful, you know, like they're just like a lot more vibrant, a lot more painterly. While in 3, everything is dying, you know, like, I mean, we're in a depressive era. Kratos, you know, I can actually pronounce the name Kratos. I can't pronounce some of these other names, but Kratos is one which I must know how to pronounce. One of the most irritating things about this fight is that Hercules has this one attack. You know, Hercules is like a really charismatic guy. So at some point during the fight, he'll just tell the rest of his goons, he'll just like get up, you know, he'll like summon like he'll suck his breath in, you know, he'll summon in his vigor, and he'll go, "Soldiers, make sure that that man's cock is not left unsucked." And these fucking idiots, these fucking like disgusting creatures just start crowding around you, like just trying to, they start grabbing your balls as fast as possible. Every time he's gonna do the big attack, and whenever he does that, you know, kind of summon the enemies to get killed there, and then you kind of, if there's an enemy over here, kind of, you know, kill him there. And what you want to happen is that you want him to stick his thumbs down on his arm, but sometimes he doesn't do that. Sometimes he'll just do the thing where he either goes or he does the thing where he punches his arm for some reason. You know, it's just a weird thing to think about. Like, what is he doing? Like, bro, just freaking slam him. I mean, to be fair, he tries to slam him at another point, but every time he does that attack, you kind of do the air dodge. The air dodge covers a ton of distance, and it kind of gets you far away from the attack. You know, if I keep doing the thing, I'm gonna get the hiccups, and thankfully, we're gonna need to make every single part of this scorpion's body red. So it's gonna be like the Kiwami 2 like heat auras. We're gonna make every single part of this thing red, though they weren't originally red, they were all blue. But see, like originally, you know, if you're just playing this fight in a kind of simple way, you just break 3 of the legs without thinking. But I'm going to be specific in the way I tackle this fight, and I'm gonna make 3 of the, you know, legs red, and the rest of the legs I'm gonna break. Because once we reach the second phase, instead of having to, like, you know, break the last 3 legs and like having them be blue and, you know, having it be like, you know, longer to break them, they're already going to be red, so they're already going to be weakened, and it's going to be easier to break them, because that second phase can get real tricky with how many enemies spawn, with some of the new attacks the Scorpion gets. Like, this Scorpion becomes much faster at attacking, so this is just the way to go. Absolutely cracked at it. So the thing about this Kronos fight is that if he rubs his fingers just slightly, you know, like left and right, Kratos would be dead, but he doesn't do that, and that's really funny. 12-year-olds was like peak, like, you know, Hunger Game demographic. I mean, there was also Harry Potter, but I mean, that's also kind of young adult, but I feel like that kind of embodies a different culture of like literature. I mean, it was also around a bit longer. And that's a little scripted sequence where a person runs by and it's like, ah! Oh, that's so scary. My man is super thick. You're just not looking right. And you know, in Prometheus, you probably have a point because the only version of Prometheus I only saw it once. I saw it recently. I saw it recently specifically because I was playing this game. And also, I should have seen like the rest of these Alien movies along the way. But yeah, the Amazon Prime Video version of Prometheus has a fucked up aspect ratio. Like, just like it's fucked up vertically, so it make every single person look a lot thinner and, you know, in contrast, a lot flatter. So, and at this point in time, you're like decently safe to run straight to the elevator, but be decently quick about it, because if you're not decently quick about it, the alien will stop doing like his big set piece here and just come kill you. One thing which really scared me is that you have to like enter your key card before pressing this button. I didn't know that for like 5 seconds, or 2 seconds, like more accurately, and it almost fucked me over. So I was like, oh. I don't feel like the experience and the tone of this moment in the film is translated here like at all. In the sense of that moment in the film, they're lost, they're exploring, there's like a sense of terror going on here. But when you're playing it in the game, you're not really feeling that. All you're feeling is, I'm walking through this hallway, it's linear, there's invisible walls everywhere because here's Samuels, here's Taylor, they're going to info dump to you about their disparity and how stacked they are, so on and so forth. That's not what they're going to say. I told you I was going to drop that topic. I did not drop that topic, but I mean, excuse me if I get... His face got a little bit fucked up there. It's going to happen again. Like, he's going to... just like, he's very jittery there. He's a little scary there. I think he's a little offended by like my fucking topic of choice here. I don't know, maybe he's like insecure about it, which, you know, I mean, I would be too if I was an Android and like they just didn't give me an ass. I'd be like, fuck, man. Now, the first Alien, I also rewatched that recently because while I did see it in theaters on film, it's been so many years since I saw it that when I was rewatching, I'm like, holy fuck, I don't remember most of what happens here. There's a lot of interesting differences between like the first Alien and like the rest of the franchise. I mean, that's not really a new statement at all. I mean, like, this is like one of the most famous like science fiction things of all time. But I mean, if you don't know anything about it, you know, if you're one of the rare few who haven't like seen the films yet, I mean, hey, I'll info dump to you about them and it'll be a fun time. But yeah, there's gonna come a specific point where you need to stop sprinting. Not sure when it is specific, but it's around this point because the human beings exist, and the alien, I think, is scripted to just kill everyone here. And while it is scripted to do that, the way this plays out can be slightly different depending on how the humans move, even how the alien moves. But yeah, I mean, once the alien pulls up in that area, the humans are going to see it, they're going to try to shoot it, and when they try to shoot it, the alien goes like, Aah! And like just starts slaughtering everyone. And you want to hide behind these crates because what you want the alien to do is just go back into one of the vents and just leave. And he has 2 vents to choose from, the one downstairs or the one up here, which is a lot more terrifying. So yeah, there's actually 2 different ways our protagonist Ripley here can say fuck. She can kind of say it in the same way she said it in this video, just kind of like under her breath, like fuck. Or she could like do a really guttural one, like fuck. Like, I mean, not like so silly and nostalgia criticky, but like she said it in a way more guttural and like scared way, like a much louder way. But sadly, I did not get that one. I instead got the more quiet, like reserved fuck. You know, like she's trying to be quiet so that the alien doesn't hear her. But the other one, she just says it. She just boom. Once I reach like this point or a certain point in this video, the alien drops down again after I complete a certain... Oh, he's right there. Oh my goodness. This guy should just kind of, you know, check around. You know, he's kind of purring like a cat. Just... And some people like get purring confused with meowing. Like they'll say, like some people will be like, oh, I'm going to cutely purr right now. And they go meow. But that's not fucking purring, dude. That's meowing. They're 2 different things. Purring is like when they start sounding like a car. You're like... That's what purring is. Purring is not meowing, alright? Get your shit together, alright? We've reached the running away from the 2 Rottweilers section that makes my heart feel bad. Oh, I hate this part so much, dude. It's the most stressful part of the game by far. So you have to run to that console, and you'll hear a face hugger spawn in. It's the worst enemy in the game by far. It's the one that makes me easily the most squeamish out of anything else in this game. I hate the fucking death animation. I hate the way it looks. It's like, dude. What are sticky keys? So on the Windows, like, I don't know, keyboards, laptops, the Windows system in general, if you spam the shift button too many times, like, you'll get kicked out of your game. You get this annoying little noise, and it'll be like, hey, do you want to turn on sticky keys? No! The face huggers ruined my no death and no damage run. It's like Hitler rose up from hell, learned how to code at MIT, and got a job at Sega.
You need to code Satan's abortion into the game just to fuck with me! Get out!
Turning that thing on, turn this thing on, but turning that thing on at that computer also like opens the door on the right, and I thought that was the only thing you had to do, but nope, you have to go here to flip a certain switch, which is required for turning on a certain thing inside that other room, which is just, it just feels like this is such a weird objective. You know, I'm gonna be a hater. I hate this objective. Like, fuck this objective. I have to enter like this weird shower area to pretty much like flip this on, and that's a necessary thing you have to flip on another thing in the other room, which is all the way across the map there. Like, ugh, dude. Kojiro Ozaki, like shoving all these guys in this huge crowd into this cramped room. Ah! Like, horrible fight. Like, just hate it. Like, I mean, in the beginning, I'm just gonna go extreme heat mode here because like there's just no point, man. Like, I mean, okay, in the beginning, I do a combo on Kojiro because, you know, in the beginning, you can actually attack enemies and all that. But after that, we are going straight combo. Shinamon, so yeah. So we're not playing as Kiryu anymore. You know, I mean, the games want to move on from him, even though they don't. They keep bringing him back for some reason or another. But, you know, 6 was his end. His end. And now we got a new Amon to show for it. Now, yeah, I'm really liking this new guy. Awesome theme. Like, this theme is amazing. And this battle is just, like, super inventive, cool. Just, like, one issue, like, I kind of had with Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, that sometimes the heat actions just look a little weird and don't have the same impact they had in the previous games. But, like, here, I don't know what they did, but they got them right. Like, when you deal with heat action in this game, you feel that impact. It's like, it's just like, I think they got like the feel like the older games, like, you know, like Yakuza 0, Kiwami 2, like that impact. They got it right in this one. However, I don't know. And now here, look at this. This is so fair. I go to hit him. Look at that. What was that? What was that, dude? Oh, man. So there's 3 weak points here, and I don't like this weak point system. I kind of just want to punch the big thing. I don't want to punch the specific Kiwami points here. I think it's really annoying, but whatever. This first one's pretty easy. Just kind of like hop in when he shoots an ice ball, and you'll have enough time to do that whole big... And then he'll kind of go down there, and then do the other attack there. The little cartwheel, and then boom. That first weak point, gone. You know, Sonic's really tiny in this mode. So you would assume Sonic's like right on top of this bubble. No, he's actually like a little bit away from it. He's flying in mid-air. So sometimes you go straight through a rock, nothing happens. Other times you go straight through a rock, you die! And well, by die, you take damage. Honestly, if you weren't doing a no damage, this fight is a lot easier, but... Oh, I'm getting lightheaded here. Oh my goodness. I actually ran a 10K before recording this commentary, and I had a slight headache head, yes. The beginning of this game kind of like tricks you into thinking, oh, this shit has stakes. This is gonna be crazy, like wicked, because Eggman just destroyed the Earth with darkness, and the Werehog dude. Sonic's gonna be so edgy. Oh no! I mean, I say oh no, and like I am so worried for the fate of the world. And then you play most of this game, and the world getting like destroyed into like multiple pieces is more of an excuse to basically just like visit different cultures across the planet in a kind of like vacation-y sort of way, in a kind of touristy sort of way. And by the way, when I'm saying this is not really a bad thing, I'm just kind of like taking back that this is a decently lighthearted game. In all my time playing Metal Gear Solid 2, I never noticed that Olga has boob physics. What? I never noticed this before. Like, did it get removed in the HD remaster? I actually rewatched my original no damage video where I no damaged the game on the HD collection just to reconfirm if they're there. And yeah, they are there, but I never noticed it in over a decade of playing this game. You know, that's pretty true to life. I watched the making of documentary which they made for this game and which was on certain DVDs of certain copies of Metal Gear Solid 2, and in the making of doc, 17 minutes in, they said that they wanted to make Raiden appeal to the player, so they made him pure, virgin, and white. I am taking the quote out of context. They mean like a completely different thing. It's kind of like how Solid Snake is like super experienced, while Raiden it's a little bit more of a newbie. They don't mean like just that quote literally taken out of context. There's a quicker way to exit the game than waiting to die. Basically, if you press all the shoulder buttons and then start and select, you can exit the game quicker than waiting to die. You know, it's very nice. It's like Smash Brothers. I don't even think there's a reason to use the box here, but I decided to use it because it's pretty cute. I'm going to go for a more crafty solution. I'm going to carry this guy into the hallway. I'm going to like hit him in the balls. Then I'm going to try to like get this guy's attention, because once he starts walking over here, he's going to see like, you know, the unconscious body of his friend. And once he's really close to that body, then I hold him up, I get his dog tag, I knock him out, and by the time I'm done knocking him out, the first guy is going to wake up by then because so much time has passed, then I knock him out again, and then we continue from there, because in some of my previous attempts, you know, like I guess I'll take like a slower route, but by the time I'm done getting the dog tag of the second guy, the other guy will wake up, and then I'll go into a caution state, and that just wastes so much time. So instead, I'm just trying to control it. See, like that guy's already on the ground, this guy's already waking up, so, you know, I decided to go for a more clever strategy.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
This is the quote. Her contemporaries, Tatsuhiko Shibusawa and Yuki Mishima and others, did much to disseminate transgressive and non-heteronormative memes. And this is in reference to the author, Hiroko Minagawa. And I believe that Kojima continues this tradition onwards in Metal Gear Solid 2. By sculpting Snake and Raiden with monstrous dump trucks, he too disseminates transgressive and non-heteronormative memes. The word meme, I have to keep making fun of it. It makes the great work of these authors sound silly, because I feel like the average Twitter user creating a video of like Bridget and that horrid yellow cat at Burger King also disseminates transgressive and non-heteronormative memes, and it's miserable, dude. I just want to like elaborate on why I love collecting the dog tags so much, because it basically turns Metal Gear Solid 2 into an engaging stealth collect-a-thon. You know how in Donkey Kong 64 you collect a banana and Donkey Kong goes, "Oh, banana." Here you're collecting dog tags and Raiden doesn't make any noises. In fact, it's more the enemies making noises, if anything. The enemies going like, "Ah! Oh!" I really want to play some of the Metal Gear Solid games with a Japanese dub, but I'm just sad that like the English releases just don't have multiple dubs on the disc. I'd have to just play the game on the Japanese disc or emulate or do something else. Like, I think the only time we've gotten access to another language track is maybe, I haven't tested, maybe with the Phantom Pain. Does the Phantom Pain have different language tracks? Or with this new Snake Eater remake in Delta, that gives you the option to play with the Japanese voices, but the Master Collection, I hear, doesn't give you the option. It's like, that would have been perfect. It's the Master Collection. Why don't we have more options? Oh, is this cutscene already over? Oh, that felt longer when I was like running it myself. I am playing a PS2 English copy of Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence. Why am I doing that? Honestly, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, it just fascinates me that the original Metal Gear Solid 2 ran at a smooth 60 FPS on original hardware, because Snake Eater ran at 30 FPS on the original PS2, but Metal Gear Solid 2 was a smooth 60 from the start, so this is not emulation, this is not like improvements from an HD collection, this is how the game originally played. Though there is a bit of upscaling happening, but it's happening through the RetroThink 5X. It's a upscaling device which I've used for some of my previous no damages, like Ice Age 2, the Meltdown on the Nintendo Wii, and it basically allows me to upscale the 480p or 480i footage of the original game to 1440p natively without ruining how the game originally looked. I'm also using like certain cables to get a little bit more quality out of the game's visuals. I'm not using the normal RGB like cables. We're going to wait for him to kind of get a little bit closer. We're going to get up. He's going to do the knife swing animation. And we're going to have the AK equipped. And we're going to land like 3 to 4 hits with the melee attack. We're going to do like 1, 2, 1, 2. Kind of like sparring. Like it's like boxing. You have to do 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you kind of wait for him to do the knife attack. You get away from the knife attack. And you kind of keep doing this. And you can do it infinitely. However, I kind of mess up at a certain point, do a full combo. But that full combo, he was about to hit me with the knife. So I basically saved my ass. But you're supposed to kind of do like 1, 2, 1, 2, and then get away. 1, 2, 1, 2, and get away. And you do have to stay somewhat close to him, because if you get too far away from him, he activates like his orange glow, and he just jumps in the water again. It just kind of slows down the whole process.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
Snake dying in this sequence is not something exclusive to DSP. It's something which can happen on the hardest difficulties of the game, because Snake is just very bad at keeping himself alive. Something else is that if your health bar is really low, Snake will switch to the M4, and the M4 is a much better weapon than the pistol, so he's really good at that. So my strategy here is wait for him to do that animation, throw that, cross the threshold, throw another one for safety, and here you kind of have to pray that the enemies get stunned by this, because what you have to do is you have to hold yourself up against the wall, and then you have to like go into first person, do the combo, then when you're facing the wall, after doing the combo, when you do the flip, you go forward and let go of the first person button, and it's like, on the edge of my seat, what do you mean when you flip? When you do that combo in third person, you know that Raiden does a little flip kick? Well, if you do it in first person, your vision will actually flip to face the wall. And when it faces the wall, you have to like let go of the first person button and move forward. But on the edge of my seat, that's a really fast frame. That's like basically like less than a second. How do you do it? Yeah, how do you do it? But I've heard that there's a subsection of debate club, like, I don't know, like in high school, college, and beyond, where there's a subsection of it that's like specifically about debating people while talking really, really fast, like ridiculously fast. Like, people would like write down their arguments ahead of time, and then they'd practice how to say it as quickly as possible so that they could say like 10 pages in like a minute or something. And at some point they stop speaking normally and they start like pretty much saying their entire argument with the most disgusting abbreviations you will hear of the English language for the rest of your days, just so that they can get more words out and just say a lot more stuff quicker. Like, it's hard to understand how these people talk when they're like talking so fast in a competitive setting, in a competitive like speak fast as fuck debate setting. It has a specific name, but I just forgot it. But I just always found that really interesting, and you know, maybe it's something I want to practice myself. I just talking really, really fast is a talent I'd like to get down. I mean, I kind of got it down, but I can always get better. If you let this guy get the advantage in any way, you basically yourself. So the strategy is you defuse this bomb here, you go all the way here. He's going to shoot you with a machine gun. I don't remember this happening in the HD collection, but I think that does happen. I just forgot that it does. And then we're going to land a shot there, and then he can take 3 different pathways. If he takes this pathway, just go down here and you'll be there. Sometimes you'll go down the hallway I just went down, so instead you would wait for him to go down the hallway and then kind of shoot him there. And sometimes he'll just go straight past you, and I would kind of like hug one of the containers on the left so that when he collides against me, he doesn't collide against me. I pretty much try to get as close to the wall as possible so that the collision doesn't happen, because every time you collide against this character model, you take damage unless it's like from behind. But if you don't know, I'll explain it. But before, did you see that bird? It literally just went by there like, "Get down, Mr. President!" But killing that bird doesn't count towards your kill count in the game, because I checked the game over screen. I did not get an enemy neutralization. But could you imagine failing your big boss run because that pigeon just fucking like tried to defend the fucking presidential node? What the fuck? Why am I doing this in particular? Well, for one, the missile barrage, I thought I had to do like something complicated, like stay in a piece of cover which only protected me like 8 out of 10 times, or run down a certain path. But what I found out is that the iframes of doing this are so strong that you basically tank everything in the game. And for the missile barrage, it's pretty easy. For this, you have to be a little bit careful. You have to reload your weapon, because if you get stuck in the reloading animation, that's when you lose your iframes and like the machine gun fire can get you. And now even the machine gun fire, I was worried about revisiting this, because the previous way I did it was that I would go downstairs, I would activate the cardboard box, and I would hide behind the boxes. But you need to have like really good audio and like visual awareness and like kind of like move around the box in a very specific way. You have to learn that route. And honestly, I really didn't want to learn that route. And in the Creative Gene's introduction, Hideo Kojima comments on how much he loved books, that he would always take a couple while on trips with his family. And I remember that when I was a kid, on one family trip, I brought 10 to 15 books in my backpack, and at a restaurant, I laid them all out, like I laid out all the books on top of the dinner table. Like Goosebumps, Hunger Games, Monsters vs. Aliens, the novelization, etc. I was really into the idea of reading each one simultaneously at the exact same time. My family was not happy with my decision. There's the part where you have to knock out the 2 guards before this. Oh, I already mentioned this. And 5th save steps. Oh, I already mentioned this. In my original Metal Gear Solid 2 no damage video, I found out. I already mentioned this. In the sniping section, I already mentioned this. The Creative Gene on page 225 confirms that Kojima is an unfaithful man. He is a cheater. This dude cheated on Sony with the Aiwa and Panasonic music player. He used to have the Walkman, but sometimes he wouldn't use the Walkman, and thus he was unfaithful to Sony, the electronics department which makes certain music players. And here we have to put Emma into a chokehold because she doesn't like bugs. And it's a real shame. But I just gotta tell you, man, Kojima, you just can't trust him. He cheats on his music devices. He cheats the world by producing inferior stealth action experiences compared to the majesty of Splinter Cell and Thief. And he cheats his fans consistently! How dare you pair Meryl with Johnny and not with me! Shame on you! Ooh, whenever I do that, I get hiccups, and it's just really annoying. A fun fact about the PS2 version of this game is that when you shoot the Stinger missile on the original PS2 version, there was this really explosive blur effect, which is just absent from the HD collection. And it just makes fights like the Harrier and the Metal Gear Ray a lot more intense, but also I think a lot of modern gamers do not like blur effects, especially motion blur. They tend to turn that off on PC because a lot of graphic settings like in the modern day are just really customizable. I mean, on the PS2, that wasn't really an option. You know, you get what you get. I mean, they optimize it specifically for what it is. But hell, even console games of these days, you can kind of flip between 30 and 60 FPS depending on the game. And the Bird has the exact same technology. It's been... It's been 12 to 15 years, and this is the first time I learned about this. This is not a point in my outline, but I'm looking at my footage, and to say something relevant to what's currently happening on screen, the pressure-sensitive buttons of Metal Gear Solid 2 can be a bit annoying. It's worse in Snake Eater, but in Metal Gear Solid 2, basically with the AK, in order to like bring it up without shooting, you have to do a half press on the shoot button. But if you do a full press, you pretty much like just bring up, you just start shooting the weapon. So a really useful thing you can do in this section of the game, because you have this kind of disguise system, is you can just hold up enemies with the AK, but you have to do a half press, and you have to be really careful that when you're switching to another weapon, you don't fully press the button by accident. Like, I fucked up a couple runs by just fully pressing the button and the rest of the base goes on alert. It's just terrible. Also, by the way, for this room, this section is the most complicated in the game. The timing is crucial. You basically have to like lock onto the enemy over there, you land a shot there, you take care of the bomb there, you run over here, you get this guy, you have to be really quick about getting one in the head because you want to get this guy before he wakes up that guy. And there, I actually shot him in the chest and I do a judo throw to create distance between them because I have to wake up that first guy after I get this guy with the coolant. And sometimes when I knock out that guy who checks the first guy, he's way too close to the first guy and I end up waking up both of them, which throws me off my rhythm. And the rhythm and timing is still really, really important. You have to be so fast about this because one of these guards, I think it's this guy, if he doesn't report to HQ, security's gonna come in, but you know, you're gonna have to like deal with all the bombs before security gets close enough to you, before you get to like the left side of the door. So timing is so fast. The timing is so fast that after I get this guy's tag, instead of going down the stairs, I'm gonna go into hanging mode and catch the ledge below me. They mentioned that in the making of documentary of Metal Gear Solid 2, they also mentioned that there was the character they wanted to make, but he got removed as they finished the story. He was called the Chinaman. He's Vietnamese. Kojima, what the fuck, man? Okay, and he has a tattoo of a dragon which comes to life when he goes into water. Now, how tastefully would Kojima have handled that character? We'll never know. So there's that. This room is one of the most complicated in the game. Not as complicated as Strut D, but basically you get the attention of that guy, you hold him up, and then you stay here, you wait for the other guy to kind of like notice you, then you crouch again, and then the other guy's going to come into your area pretty soon, and when he's near the other enemy, you use a coolant to pretty much stun the both of them, and then when they're both stunned, you hold up the both of them, you get their dog tags, and you move on. And something which you really want to do is that when you hold up this first enemy, you want him to be facing straight ahead, you do not want him to be facing near you. Like, you know, you don't want the first enemy to be facing at you, because if you do, once you switch to the coolant, he's not going to be held up anymore. The VR missions for this game have 3 different placements. There's 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place, and there's also worse than 3rd place, which just makes you feel utterly miserable. So if you get 3rd place, you'll get a voice line of the Colonel going like, wow, that's pretty cool, man. The 2nd place, you'll get Rose going, Jack, you're great! And then the 1st place, you'll get Snake going, not bad, kid. Oh yeah, by the way, if you equip this disguise, even after the mask has been taken off, it still gives you a little bit, like, it makes the enemy visibility, like, slightly worse. It's kind of like a beta version of the camo system from Snake Eater. So this will make struts like, you know, strut D and E a little bit less of a pain in the ass to kind of deal with. So yeah, just kind of keep this on. It's a great outfit to just kind of wear all over the place.
Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
I don't really subscribe to the Richard Dawkins version of memes. The memes which are happening right now is like, damn, Daniel! Did I date my video? Yes. Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat. Why did you not mention a more modern meme? If I mentioned something more modern, it would date the video harder! It'd be worse! You don't want me to mention what's currently popular right now. It's terrible, dude! So anyways, let's move on. Kojima is a fan of the I Spy books. And that's why Kojima was inspired to make spy espionage video games like Metal Gear Solid. In fact, comparing this to Metal Gear Solid 2, AI stands for Albert Einstein. That's why it's so smart.
This camera angle is terrible. this specific camera angle has like messed me up so many different times because like, you know, an enemy will just prepare an attack like off screen and I won't be able to see them. Maybe if I had the game in 16:9 mode, maybe they'll be more visible, but like that's like a vertical thing, and the camera's like very zoomed in. This is like FOV like at the absolute lowest. So, you know, maybe that helps the game run better, and this does run at 60 FPS, which is very nice. I could not imagine this running at 30 FPS. Could you imagine that? Wii Sports Resort at 30 FPS? Like, ew, dude.
There's this one combo that I do sometimes. Let me see if I do the combo here. So it's like slash, slash, heavy slash, heavy slash. No. There's one where I'm not so close to the wall, so I'm actually able to like extend it a bit, and it's important because it's extremely clutch for me, especially in this fight. See, like whenever he like throws me across the room there, it's like, ugh. I think it's here. Boom, here. So slash, slash, heavy slash, kickstart my heart, jump move like the shoot, and then I do like the ducking heavy slash, and that's a 9-hit combo there, and like whenever it pops up, I do it because it's invaluable. I might do it again. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I did it again. Look at that. And that saved my ass. You know, my agility for every single like party member is 9,999. Okay, I said I didn't use a cheat engine before, but to get every single party member to that stat, I did use a cheat engine and basically just like got a bunch of like stat boosters and just boosted everyone's stats to 9,999. For more context on that, check out my Roblox 7 video, and we're gonna be here for a while because the management game, because this game's New Game Plus feature is very inconvenient with certain things. Like, there's like a lot of like repeating the same shit over and over. Like, all the bond levels just go to 0 again, so you have to like grind those all the way to level 5, just like every single party member has access to all the jobs again, so you can get all the stat boosts from those jobs again. So you have to grind all the bond levels, which means either eating at a restaurant multiple times over and over and over and over and over, or giving them a bunch of flowers over and over and over and over and over. But the most tedious grind, which you have to repeat constantly every time you do New Game Plus, if you want Eri, if you want her at level 5 bond, is why didn't they add a skip button? It's like, it's just dead air. Like, I mean, if you're gonna have a little menu management game, it would have been more fun if I could just skip it, just so I could like constantly be selecting the options, which like speed me through this like sub story as quickly as possible. Why are you wasting my time? And I have slightly similar issues with Don Dokoto Island. Like, there's no point in building the best island when the in-game payout is nothing. Yeah, no, I'm not really giving many details about these mini bosses, but then again, they all kind of play the same by a certain point, and this is maybe an issue with the game's combat system, or maybe just an issue with my no damage approach. Oh, by the way, the reason why my voice sounds a little weird and I'm sniffing a bit is because I think I'm recovering from like a light cold, so like, you know, there's like mucus in the system and all that, so that's why my voice is a little bit off. Maybe it's just that I streamed too much like a Dragon Gaiden. I did kind of stream every day for about 14 days. And overall, I have spent over 86 hours with this game. Mind you, I am 100% certain that like 50 or 60 of those hours just come from retrying like no damage attempts with these boss fights. Like, holy moly. In order to do this, they shot all the video in 4K. which means that the entire hostess thing takes up 24 gigabytes of this game's entire fucking, like, size file. It's insane. Let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about this fight. This theme is awesome. So yeah, this is around the time I figured out that dodging and then pressing triangle is one of the most useful things in the game, because I keep doing it. Just boom, miss, hit, juggle. Very nice. And here... Oh yeah, that's not an intro. That's just like a QTE sequence. Which, by the way, from what I remember, there's only 3 of them in the entire game. So yeah, once you're done with that, he's gonna try to do a flashbang. And once he does the flashbang, then he does like his mortal attack. You can block the flashbang, which means he'll immediately do his mortal attack. But if you're hit by the flashbang, it doesn't deal any damage. But what it does do is like kind of leave you stunned for a bit. And the boss fight just kind of taunts you until you're like able to dodge. Then he does like an attack to like pretty much destroy you. For this fight, I do think I had some equipment. I think I had the equipment for, like, you know, getting more heat. I also had the equipment to, like, block blades, but I never did throughout this fight. This is actually surprisingly one of the easier fights in the game. Because everyone was, like, hyping this up as being, like, super hard, but then I just, like, I beat him up. In order to get the best performance out of the game while still getting top-notch visuals, I just stick with 1440p. And at a certain point, can you really tell the difference? I mean, a lot of these people are just watching these videos on their fucking telephones. So, you know, and I support that. Apparently, the Blu-ray of the Raid just makes it a lot more blue. And a recent 4K version of the movie came out, which just gets rid of the blue filter. And that 4K version was, like, supervised by the director. And the director was like, yeah, the movie was not supposed to be that blue in the Blu-ray. I mean, it is called Blu-ray. They made it more blue. What am I saying? Wait. Let me get my words in order here. So, like, Yakuza 0 has a really long chapter 1, but Judgment... Okay, the thing is, like, there is gameplay in the first chapter of Judgment. It's just that, like, there's certain huge sections in that first chapter that are just stealth, and that's like, one of my biggest issues with the first Judgment, that the tailing missions are so boring. They were actually a slog to go through. Like, the stealth is so bare bones that it's just, like, it's a waiting game. You just kind of keep waiting. And here's what I don't like about the perfect guard timings. So, you know, you can block the white attacks perfectly, and he'll, like, you know, get bounced off, and you can do a perfect guard reversal. But if you perfectly guard some other attacks he does... he also, like, bounces off your attack, except you can't do the perfect guard reversal because it's not a white flashing attack. Ah! Dude, I hate it so much. Like, it's like, it feels like they didn't think it through, like, the mechanic. And mind you, I'm kind of talking about stuff that you only do as, like, a no damager who wants to do those perfect guard reversals because, honestly, there's not much reason to do them aside from, oh, I want to flex, I want to look cool, I want to do something different than, like, I want to do something which the average player isn't going to do, but, like, there's not much reason to do it. It took me 4 days to get this fight down pat because of the clones. And also, I learned about the bird because of the other no damages. They use the bird. But the other no damage, I gotta call them out. Most no damage, Amon no damage videos I've seen, they have their attack upgraded really, really high because I see them use the bird. The bird kills everyone with like 2 hits. That's not what happens if you don't have your attack upgraded. So I'm calling you out, whoever did that. But you could get really lucky situations where the bird just sends everyone down and you don't have any attack upgrades, and it could kill everyone if you get really, really lucky. Or maybe there's like some sort of like positioning tech that I don't know about yet that, like, you know, will do it consistently. But it's fucking... It sucks! It sucks! Okay, let me talk about how to deal with the clones. So... You're gonna be spamming knives, and every now and then you can like use the rope with Sea Dog, and you know kind of press triangle to kind of cut through them. That tends to deal like decent damage. And honestly, with the bird, it's a fucking casino. It's a casino. You're fucking gambling. You're playing pachinko, buddy. You thought Yakuza got rid of pachinko? No, pachinko's here for you. So I don't know what the fucking properties of the bird are. I feel it's completely random. I've had situations where the bird kills nobody. I've had situations where the bird kills everyone except one guy, and it was beautiful, and then I fuck up the no damage, and I feel really bad about it. Let me get back to my complaints about the Jack 4 fight. So when I put it into Premiere, because it's a 30 FPS clip, and like my whole project is 60 FPS, the 3-minute clip I have of the Jack 4 no damage becomes 8 minutes, and the audio is desynced, and the footage runs like dog ass. You know, like I'm pissed, and I think I have to redo the whole fight. But I came up with an idea which didn't make me do that. What if I transport the clip to my Mac and trim the beginning section with the 30 FPS cutscene out of the clip? And the reason I did it on my Mac was because QuickTime can trim, while on Windows they don't really have a good trimming program aside from maybe like VLC. And honestly, if I have to use VLC to trim, I feel like that's a little bit overboard. I don't know. So yeah, believe my shock when I found out that trimming out that cutscene section actually fixed the clip. The clip was now in 60 FPS, so I mean my only real like... thing there is Adobe. I hate you! And this section, I don't have to go up here. There's a shortcut which pretty much like skips this entire top section, but I wanted to record footage of me sneaking and ghosting past this top area because I think it would look cool, and I committed to it. So yeah, Once you reach like that point, once the guard reaches that point, you can run. You do a roll there, but if you keep running before, like if you keep running after the roll, you're gonna get caught. Or if you run instead of doing the roll, you get caught because there's another enemy who's like overlooking everything. It's not just those two guards. Like the enemy who's overlooking anything is like one of the most like pain in the ass like parts of that mission. I gotta talk about this fight because this is like one of the more challenging ones in the game and like one of the more technical ones, because the annoying thing with these guys is that every time you get rid of one of these soldiers, one spawns in from like one corner of the map. They don't like jump out of the tank. They like flashbang themselves into existence. So if you were to take these guys out like one by one, they're going to start spawning in one by one. And if they spawn in from like a place which isn't to your advantage, it could really screw you over. What I like to do is hide behind this pillar. But I've had times where like the enemy will spawn like right behind me. But most of the time they're going to spawn in either from that corner of the map or this corner of the map, and I might actually blind you in like 2 seconds. Once this guy like reaches this section, you might actually get blinded. Yeah, you see, you get blinded. So this mission also has a lot of interesting things I have to do, but one of those interesting things is kind of a pain in the ass. We're not at the pain in the ass section yet, so you kind of go as quickly as you can to those stairs. You pretty much climb up here to this metal gear. You don't cross any further, because if you cross any further, an enemy might notice you. Then when that guy crosses there, you go here, and then you have to, that's how you get to this prisoner here. You rescue this prisoner, then you have to go back the way you came, and this is the part that's kind of a pain in the ass. You have to do this roll perfectly. Because a lot of the time, if you fuck up that roll, you just end up slipping through the metal gear. I don't know what timing we have to do specifically, but if you do the timing correctly, you land on the metal gear like that. If you do it incorrectly, then you end up just like not even getting on top of it. You just fall to the ground. You have to repeat everything over again. Going through that door is that, see, when you did this mission in the caution state, you could only go downstairs through the elevator, but now we have access to that door I just went through. So yeah, here, typically you would like wait for these guys to like do the patrol, but if you run fast enough to this point and start hanging, you can skip all of that and just immediately be here before they even start the little routine. I like how the game warns you, like, guys, Snake, if enemies are doing co-op play and you don't have co-op, don't do it. But yeah, like this is like one of the most challenging like little stealth encounters, because knowing the exact timing of when you have to rescue that prisoner and when you have to like climb up, it was a pain in the ass to route. But once I had it routed down, I had to execute it, and then like it was just so nice once I was able to actually do it. But I mean, I can't lie to you, that section's a pain in the ass. A chaff grenade can keep this boss stunned in really cool ways. The chaff grenade makes it like kneel over. The boss kneeling over is incredible. It's incredible. Peace Walker, like even in its final fight, has some really nice reactions to the chaff grenade, especially if you do the chaff grenade in the middle of one of her attack animations that keeps her like, you know, stuck still in place. Like if you do the chaff grenade in the middle of one of her like drill missiles drilling right now. Like, you know, she stands still, and then when she's done doing the attack, then she does like the whole jittery, you chaffed me, you chaffed me. Because like a lot of the times to do this fight, the way the missiles curve, it just curves straight to my location. Like, look at that, sometimes it just get me. Why do the missiles curve so much? I don't remember this happening on PS3. I think it's asinine that it has to be under 6 minutes. It's like they didn't even account for the fact that I want to ghost it in a cool way. And to be fair, they didn't. The game's not really built around it, but you can do it. Maybe it is built around it, but that time limit, that was a mistake. It needs to be longer than 6 minutes. I don't give a fuck what they think, bruh. It needs to be longer than 6 minutes, but at least I did it under 6 minutes. But when I say I did it under 6 minutes, I of course mean that I got 138 points of heroism. I upgraded my weapon a little bit. 3 seconds off! 3! What a thrill! The only enemy we have to deal with is the guy behind the windows, and the guy behind the windows is one of the most infuriating because he just walks 5 feet from his, like, he has only 2 positions, and the 2 positions which he guards are like 5 feet away from each other. He doesn't go like on a big trek. So when he turns around there, this is your cue to get up here, activate the level box, and start running fast as fuck to this area. Man, it's like just the commitment has to be real nice. So there's a prisoner right there. And this guy, he either stands there or he stands closer to the prisoner. He doesn't go anywhere else. So these guards are always going to be looking a certain direction, and it makes it really annoying to get past them. You can't wait them out and also get past the caution state. So what I'm going to do is bring back a piece of lovely tech we haven't seen in quite a long while. Bring on the footsteps. Boom! Footstep tech. and then we have to do this twice in a row to escape this building. Boom! Footsteps. Look at that. That wasn't a beautiful roll. And then we just leave the building. Time is so important for this mission. I think it's asinine that going over 6 minutes, like, you know, gives you an A rank and not an S rank for a mission that's this complicated, with this many enemies, and with the areas that are like kind of this packed and big, and with so many ways to get caught, and with this much commitment. And sometimes like the level can be so linear that like the times you have to like slip by the enemy to actually like make it unscathed while ghosting, while rescuing every single prisoner, it deserves to give me more than 6 minutes to solve the whole fucking thing. Let me tell you this theory about the Phantom Pain.
Spoilers for the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
A lot of like Ground Zeroes was actually fake. And the Phantom Pain that, you know, like there was the tape in Ground Zeroes where, you know, Skullface like raped Oz. Some people theorize that tape doesn't exist and was only created for Venom Snake, or rather Venom Snake was like tricked into thinking it was real to give him motivation to go after Skullface. Now, what evidence do these people have? I think they were just hitting the pipe, I'm not gonna lie, but I can kind of see it, because especially as a Venom Snake is kind of groomed to play a certain role, so that could be a way they push him, because that tape does kind of come out of fucking nowhere. One, how is that tape, like, how does that tape come into like his possession? Two, it feels out of like tone with like the Metal Gear Solid like series, so maybe it was just a fake tape to pretty much get like Venom Snake riled up to go after him. And you have to be careful when you're up here, because if you make too much noise, the guy who's like inside the boathouse downstairs, he's gonna hear your footsteps and he's gonna try to climb up the stairs. You can actually pretty much sneak past the guy when he does this, because when he starts climbing the stairs, his like sightline is completely gone. So you can literally just drop here and he could be like climbing the stairs right at that moment and nothing happens. But I'm just not gonna risk it, because it is quicker to just get out of there and not wait for him to climb the stairs. I did really crazy strats, and now I want to do those crazy strats again. I do think the strats are a little bit more lenient, because I messed up with the love box like 2 or 3 times here, and I still reached the guy on time, but I still have to do the invisible, like, you know, standing still tech by Duran Duran to get past this guy, but it does seem like the timing is a little bit more lenient. I do appreciate that. Okay, maybe not that lenient, because I mean, I rolled right there and the guy turned around. I guess I just got better at doing it.
I'm on the train. Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid.
Like, this game has a whole breadth of references from like literature, poets, films, and that's the sort of stuff that'd be really interesting to dig into. But if my extra ops video is going to be 12 hours long, I think it's best to save all that information to commentate during the 12-hour long video instead of the video where I didn't need all that stuff and I still talked about it. So I decided to make the color scheme of my Zika Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond. Before, I kind of had like a blue and pink color scheme, but repeating it, I just didn't think was going to be good. Originally, I was going to make him like red and blue. I like the color schemes of red and blue, but I decided to go with Buzz Lightyear. That's just kind of how I ended things off. Now, my strategy for the helicopter, this is where that previous video that inspired me comes in. Basically, like in my old video, I would shoot it with the the FIM, like you know, rocket launcher that has a targeting system, and it would have a whole phase where it just leaves the map. What I didn't know is that when it leaves the map, that's pretty much when you go in to ambush it. But instead of ambushing it with rockets, we just shoot it with this machine gun. The rockets, like, you know, deal like 2,000, 4,000 damage by every shot, but you know, the shots in between, the reload time between shots is like slow. While here, this deals constant damage, 800, 900 every single time you hit it, but you can shoot it for a really long time, so the damage adds up a lot quicker than just shooting those rockets. So pretty much, if it's shooting you from like one side of the rooms, go to the other side and try to get it where, you know, it's not facing you, and keep shooting it until it explodes. Because I think when it explodes, it tries to go into like, you know, timeout. You know, like, oh, you know, like, oh, tap out, you know, it's trying to, like, you know, reload itself, but just keep firing at it until it starts exploding and going boom, 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 and then the music starts soaring, and I don't stop talking, because if I stop talking, the video gets copyright claimed. One of the most interesting things about ghosting is, like, infiltration, then exfiltration. I think there might be times in, like, the Metal Gear Solid Saga where some of the games just don't really, like, explore the concept of exfiltrating an area. Portable Ops was a game which had level design that was just begging for objectives like that, where you get in and you get out. Getting out is still an interesting thing, because once you get in and you get the thing you want, you're still there. The enemies are still there, but you have to leave. Leaving is still like an important stealth challenge, but a lot of the time in Portable Ops, you infiltrate, you do the thing, and then the game just kind of cuts to menu. It's like, oh, you're done, you did it. And Peace Walker is generally also like that, but in some of these extra missions or some of these extra ops, and sometimes in the main story, Peace Walker like kind of dabbles in kind of like exfiltration. The presentation just impresses me a lot, and it's not just the graphics, because yeah, like the graphics are a bit dated, you know, the PSP, the models can't move anything, but the UI I think constantly like impresses me when I'm playing throughout the game. And yeah, this is the work of professionals. This game, from what I understand, if you go through the credits, has the same number of people working on it as Metal Gear Solid 4. I think this game was meant to be Metal Gear Solid 5. It was meant to be the continuation to 4, despite being on a handheld console, despite not having as much like graphical powers as the PS3. This was meant to be the continuation. This is the next big game, and the UI is just awesome. You have to kind of poke out and really, really hope that you don't get clipped by the helicopter. If like a helicopter starts shooting, just kind of change sides. You don't want to mess with the helicopter's machine gun fire. It's very, very dangerous. Now, how many enemies do you have to take out outside? Honestly, I don't know the exact number. I just got a feel for it. You know, like I need to take out the guy who ambushes you, who enters the building. Then you need to take out the guy on the, like the minigun, and then there's like a few guys to take out on the left. And you can kind of know who they are. Like, I think it becomes kind of obvious if you've eliminated all the police people. Right to your right there, and you need to be really, really fast to cross past this enemy. Like, look at the timing there. You have to like immediately like, you know, jump off over the box, get in here, go into this house, and then knock on this door. And if the doorknob's not here, you have to basically like restart the mission. You have to fucking load up the slot machines again and just roll it again. And I want to enter this next area with the love box, because what I usually do and what I did in my old video is that I'll crouch walk all the way to the piece of cover I want to get to. And, you know, like 9 times out of 10 it'll be fine, but, you know, 1 out of 10 times I'll get clipped by a machine gun. But you know what works 10 out of 10 times? Running fast as fuck with the love box to the place. You never get caught by the gunfire. So that works wonders. But for this one, there's something very particular you have to know. There's a sniper right there, and it seems like the only way I got past this sniper is with my camo and by walking real slowly while crouched. Very rarely do I have to do that, but with the way the sniper's positioned there and the path I take, I have to do it this way. Look at that. The sniper's right there. Like, I'm right in his eyesight, but I guess if I just slowly kind of crawl, I mean, not crawl, crouch, like, you know, sneak like this, I can get past this guy. And I'm just not 100% sure what his, like, line of vision is, but look at him. He's right there. Like, the way they place the snipers in this area in particular is a lot stricter than it used to be. So once we're at the top of the stairs, we're gonna have to use the love box to cross this barrier before the enemy over there catches sight of us. And, you know, this is not as hard as that previous mission where you have to, like, you know, use the invisible tech by Duran, but it's still like a bit of a challenge if you keep fucking up your positioning. You have to run really, really quickly to rescue this prisoner. Then you have to go upstairs. You have to kind of like, you know, do this standing, right? You're going to be standing here, and then before we enter that door, we're going to go crouching, because if we run standing, we're going to be too exposed for the enemy that's like right to our right. Then we're going to stand up here quickly, we're going to like hang and do that, because doing the rolling tech, I think, just makes you too visible, and it's like too inconsistent. And then from here, we're going to keep standing. Like, the amount of time you can stay standing and running will save you a ton of time. And yeah, I needed to use the swim trunks to run as fast as possible. You basically unlock these by dating a woman, pretending to be a minor, then going back to get the fucking swim trunks, and now you can run fast enough to S-rank this mission. I was actually surprised to find out there were 6 Zadornov missions and not 7. I don't know, a little deja vu. Deja vu. So this mission is going to require you to go through like nearly the entirety of the Cloud Forest segment, but I forget exactly what the gimmick with getting Zadornov is, because, well, is he going to be hidden? Oh no, I do remember what the gimmick is. I don't know if he has a random spawn, but with the place he spawns in that I want him to spawn in is just kind of, it's hard to see him.
It is actually really easy to accidentally pull out a weapon if you have one equipped. Like, I don't know, sometimes I would be fighting a boss fight and I'd have a sword equipped, and instead of actually switching to another style, like, I tap it too much and I end up switching over to the sword. Like, especially when doing these type of combos. And here, kind of an instinctual tiger drop. I did not plan to do the tiger drop there. Same thing with that tiger drop there, and that tiger drop actually missed. Like, I don't know, there's no time to be elegant with the younger brother. With the elder brother, you know, maybe mix it up a bit. I mean, I'll definitely be mixing it up a little bit, though I'll also be using the tiger drop quite a bit, because it's just like, I don't know, the fight just kind of gives me tiger drop vibes. I mean, like, I think about the tiger drop, I think about red,
and these guys, they're red. So we're gonna be using the tiger drop here. For this boss fight, it's very tricky. You kind of start off by like grabbing something to hit them with, you know, like the weapon, and then hope. You have to be lucky with this. You have to hope that like the boss fight doesn't react in a weird way, where you pretty much, you know, do like 2 big sweeps. You kind of stomp him down when he's on the ground, and then you do heat action. And then once you do that, you pretty much have to like, you have to like kind of struggle with it. You kind of have to, you know, dodge around, try to get lucky hits in there, try to maybe get some grab combos in there, and then after that, it's like and then also try to bait out a heat action. Like I did like a reaction heat action. Like I forgot the names of like the reversal heat actions. I think that's what they're called. So I did that to the boss fight. It killed it. And now here,
if you're still holding the motorcycle when you run out of heat mode, he was just like kind of hunched back, like, you know, he like he threw out his back like, and it kind of like slows you down, and the enemy has an easy opportunity to attack you. So be careful not to have a motorcycle if you're close to running out of heat. You have to really plan that out. We have the first Toru Higashi fight, and this is another character who doesn't unleash his Roblox prowess until the next game, because he's still struggling with a lot of this one, a lot of drug addiction, a lot of different like really mature topics, which I do think this game handles pretty adaptly, but right now he just hasn't fully unlocked his Roblox avatar.
Now, this fight is brutal. I kind of hate. It's awesome. Like the entire getting to actually play out this sequence was incredible, but like, oh my goodness, just like actually handling it is a nightmare, especially without any attack upgrades. Lost Judgment. Take a shot every time I mention Lost Judgment. So yeah, for this encounter, once again, this room is insane, and my first prerogative is kill this fucking loser. I hate this guy, dude. He's such an asshole, and he's an asshole to fight, an asshole in the story. Just like a worthless character. I mean, maybe not worthless per se, but like, I hate this fucking guy. This guy should fucking die. The reason I grow a little bit fond of Kiwami 2, and then I replay it and I realize why I don't like the combat that much in that game. So like the speed in Gaiden. Once again, why is the Yakuza style slower in this game than it was in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2? Because like overall, I still think playing with the Yakuza style is more fun in this game, but I really wish it was as fast as it was in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2. I really do miss that. But then I play Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, and Kiryu just kind of feels a little bit limpy in those games, while here he actually like has a nice feel, a nice flow. While in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, like the flow of like certain boss fights gets very fucking annoying. But I miss the speed of those games. Like the speed of those games mixed with like this game's game feel would be a lot nicer. And now we're gonna have a more fair fight, but this fight is also a bit of a tutorial. And here they get a little bit meta there. There we have the Kiwami cat, and here the boss fight actually reminds you of your previous, like, you know, legacy with the PS2 Kiryu there. One fun thing about the agent style is you can basically like infinitely grab enemies and get them in a sort of loop of just grab, light attack, grab, light attack. Now if you try to do other things like, you know, grab, throw, or grab, heavy attack, it's not really going to work out, but grab, light attack, then grab him again, light attack, grab him again, light attack. It's very useful for setting up opponents for a lot of different things. You're going to see it come up over and over again. In order to fully edit this video, I had to get a new keyboard, and I ended up getting new keycaps. And I'm going to give you a quick warning here. These keycaps, they are green. But they're technically not the green you're familiar with. They're actually a much less threatening green. Just, you know, be prepared. They're not green. They're aqua green. This is going to be awesome. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. I knock him to the barrel. Boom. Jumps down. Lightning, like, kind of, like, puts him in place. Love that move. Just awesome. And also syncs up to the music beautifully. Oh, man, I'm getting excited. Yes. Rapid Fire Rally is also one of my favorite moves in the game. It's so aggressive. Like, she's constantly, like, beating the shit out of the enemy with the racket. It's just super fun to pull off. And it's fun to, like, knock other enemies into other enemies with that move. Also, something I found out while doing the final dungeon of this game is that enemies can actually knock you into their friends, and they can, like, hit you, and then when you're on the ground, another enemy can walk up and hit you on the ground the same way you can do it to the enemies. So that was like a really like scary encounter, because the enemies can fuck you over the same way you can fuck them over. Well, that's not even true, because you have advantage. Guys, I'm gonna have to warn you, do not leak this to RGG right now. I could lose my job if you leak this stream. I really need you guys to not leak this to RGG, okay? Because I don't think my hacker friend, he went a little bit too extreme. He didn't just leak Kiwami 3. Have you heard Yokoyama talking about how Kiwami 3 isn't, they're done, Kiwami 3 is like the last one, they're gonna do a new line of games? Guys, I think that new line of games, he gave me the first copy. Holy shit. Okay, let me get this on game capture right now. Holy fuck, we're about to see the new generation of Yakuza right here. Come on. Guys, we're getting Saeko Gaiden right now. This is Saeko Gaiden. Can you believe this? Holy fuck, guys. We got Saeko Gaiden 5 years before it came out. Holy shit, guys. This is incredible. Oh my gosh. Contracts are just like consent for BDSM, you know? Ever heard of Christian Grey? Christian Grey? Silly dilly. That's an anachronistic detail. Those books didn't come out in 2008. Wait, did they? When did... The film was released in 2015, but it seems that the first book was released in 2011, but this game takes place in 2008. That is an anachronistic detail. That doesn't fit with the time period. Christian Grey was not like a concept available to the public in 2008, unless like 50 Shades of Grey was like on a fan fiction website before it became like an official book, or if you had the manuscript ahead of time because you were pals with the lady. How do you know this? You don't have access to this. So that's what I'm saying. Complete anachronistic detail. Doesn't fit the setting. You used to be vegan, but now you will be gone. Yeah. Is this before or after Saeko kills Ichibum? Ichibum hasn't shown up yet. She's killed Daigo, she's killed Mine, and she's killed, I believe that was Hamazaki. I think that was like Hamazaki after a sex change, or Hamazaki's daughter. She killed her, except that doesn't make any sense. How would Hamazaki have a daughter in 2008 if he's 5 years old in 2011? I'm really liking how the combat's looking in this new game. It's interesting. It's a little bit more linear than I would have liked. You don't really have much potential for juggles or stuns, but it does have a really interesting cinematic pace. I do think the game does that pretty well. I'm getting a bad feeling. It's a feeling that I got when I first started Yakuza 7. This protagonist is not gonna have a new moveset. First off, the original game was... Oh my goodness! Wait. Yeah. This game takes place October 5th, 2008. Yakuza 3 takes place in 2009. But I'm pretty sure that the first chapter of the game takes place in 2007. This is right in between the very beginning of Yakuza 3 and the rest of the game. Holy shit, this really is Saeko Gaiden, Kiwami 3. This is what it is. Holy shit, dude. This is crazy. The wood is hard. Maybe I'll just lie down forever. Oh my goodness! I know that ain't who I think it is. Oh my gosh. It's Mr. Stranger Than Heaven Man. Holy shit. This Mr. Stranger Than Heaven Man. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. We're gonna get out of this. What the fuck? Oh, it's Dante's grandpa. That's who's gonna be in Stranger Than Heaven. His grandpapa. Wow. I guess this is how we get to get a good look at the fingernail there. So we got a little bit of red. And then the shade starts to get darker in the middle, emulating light and shadow. The light of the phone is probably creating the harshest like light source, but then as it codes along here, it starts to split up a bit. We got a little bit of a lighter red mixing with the dark, and a slight bit of pixelation hinting to the fact that we're inside the game world. And then right here is our biggest clue that this is a Daidoji simulation. Instead of the bright red or the dark red color, we have a pinkish hue because none of this is real. And the gingerbread man fucked my wife, and the ribbon was for Yakuza 7 Kiwami. My goodness. This is the voice of the man who's... This is the voice of a man who erased his name. This is the voice of another man who's erased his name. Oh man. I don't know what he's like, because he erased his name, but Mocha was afraid he might be. It's nice to meet you.
Spoilers for Saeko Gaiden, the man who shrank his name.
I actually have to record footage of this. I have to record the different title screens, because there's 3 different title screens that can happen depending on what ending of the game you get. Wait, but isn't there one where you just straight up kill this chick? Or is the one where you kill this chick always end with you pretty much just putting her into solitary confinement for the rest of her life? Well, it's not like you do it. There's an interesting line in the evil ending where she's like, oh, you'll never really be an equal to me, you'll always be an accomplice, because she's the one with the magical powers, and you don't really have any say on that aside from like your immaculate Riz that can convince her to do this or that, but really it's up to her. So even when she decides to pretty much put herself in prison for the rest of her life, that's something she did. And she probably fucks with it because he's like, oh dude, you're pretty cool. I'll let you like keep me in a drawer for the rest of my life. She's into it, so it's not really like any sort of like rehabilitation. Like I feel like for rehabilitation, it kind of has to be a little bit out of her way. No? Alright, I'm out.